John, I would like to wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy Kwanzaa, a wonderful Hanukkah, and happy holidays all around, because this is our last podcast of 2016, and today is Christmas. So you're festive here. You got a hat on.
I do have a hat on.
That you're standing the place up. It's the Holiday Rage Select Podcast. Woo!
Hi.
you're just staring at me the entire time. I'm trying to.
So I'm waiting for something that I can get work off of, man.
Motherfucker, I had 4 hours. I got like 4 hours of sleep last night, only to wake up and find YouTube dicking with my dance apocalypse that I spent 2 weeks and a million hours working on. I'm running a little bit low energy today, but
all right. That's cool.
I'm gonna do my best. How about? Are you ready? What do you think? Okay, so we're recording this in the past. What do you think you're doing right now? What do you think you're doing right now?
Watching a Christmas movie, snacking on turkey, and probably already opened up gifts.
Okay.
Because my Christmas is the same every year.
Yeah.
We order the day before. We go to Rudy's Barbecue and order a large thing of turkey.
Yeah.
And then we go to the grocery store and buy some instant mash and some mac and cheese and maybe some other things.
Sure.
And then we go home, and then on Christmas Day,
put it all in a blender.
No. We basically heat up the turkey so that it's nice and fresh.
Sure.
And then we kind of just snack on it the entire day. And then just we have a long list of a stack of Christmas movies and Blu-rays and that we watch, and I'm happy because I was finally able to secure one of the DVDs / Blu-rays that had been eluding us for so long, and I had actually been watching a pirated version of said movie every year up until this year. But now I have a legit copy.
You're right with the Lord.
I'm right with the Lord. It even has commentary and extra features.
Which boy and what movie is
Santa's
it?
Sleigh.
Okay, all right.
With Bill Goldberg.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I think that I'm probably going to be. That's a bad. I mean, what do you think you're going to be doing right at the moment that this part of the podcast is happening? I'm probably sitting at my computer making sure the podcast was uploaded correctly. But yeah, I don't know. This year, my family and I are taking Christmas real easy. We've canceled presents. No more presents because we're all adults, and we're giving some stocking stuffers to various people, just little things, But we've kind of got to that point where it's everybody is an adult. And the only things that I want for Christmas cost $5,000. So, let's just give each other a couple of things, and then let's have ourselves a nice turkey dinner and a little cheer, a little holiday. How do you do? You know what I wish? What I really want for Christmas this year, John, is I want for Texas to not be 87 degrees on Christmas Day.
Yeah, because we actually had it really cold a couple days ago, and then it's slowly been getting warmer.
Yeah.
Since, and it's no, cold front, come back.
Yeah,
come back.
Well, I've actually this week I've been planning to go to our local Trail of Lights, Zilker Park Trail of Lights, and that's always nice to do. And you're hanging around with your family and friends and stuff, and you're all bundled up and it's winter. Oh, look at these lights, Whereas if you're walking around in short sleeves and jorts, that's just less. That's less Christmassy, shall we say?
Yeah.
I usually try not to wear my jorts that much at Christmas. I know it's hard to believe, but
I guess
that's what I need. I need a pair of holiday jorts. I need the ugly Christmas sweater equivalent of jorts.
Ugly Christmas jorts.
Maybe
that's what I want to get you for Christmas next year.
Maybe I could get some red denim jorts with a fur lining on the bottom of them.
No, that's
and a big black belt, right?
No, it's got to be green, kind of instead of the red fur or red lining or whatever. Yeah, it's got to be a green fur kind of thing.
Okay,
so
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. And then I can get myself a short sleeve dress shirt that's got bad Christmas stuff on it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Well, you know what, folks? This week we have
knitted shorts.
I don't like the sound of that.
So it's like a sweater, it's like a knit sweater, an ugly Christmas sweater.
Yeah.
Except that material made into shorts.
I have a feeling that's going to be somewhat obscene because that a sweat it's all the knits. They're they move a lot. So I'm figuring what if you accidentally think about Scarlett Johansson and then everybody is like, hey, is that a Yule log in your Christmas shorts, or are you just happy to see me? And I could be both. Sorry.
I'll let you have that one. I could make a joke, but I'm going to let you have that one.
I'm very loopy. Yeah, no, I know. There's oh, no, I think you mean a tiny candy cane, Jeff. No, yeah, so we have this week kind of just garbage news, like not very much, but there's a little bit to talk about, not that much of it. We also have a couple movie trailers, and but the big thing this week is that John and I are going to get down on our Game of the Year picks for this year. We're going to try to speed through this opening part and through the dumb news, and then we're also going to have questions so that everybody can have something to listen to.
Now, I do want to say something before we get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the reaction to the second part of the WWE 2K17 video.
If you haven't watched it, you should go do it right this second.
I have been really happy. I was also happy that Jason Murphy didn't threaten to kill me after seeing it. So,
He's got so many ways to do it now. I feel like the modern rogue is just a test chamber.
That's why I was worried.
Getting even with your enemies.
That's why I was worried. And then he's like, no, it's cool. And I'm like, all right, whew.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. Before we jump in, I am going to say, usually a lot of times when we're in this opening part, I like to try to talk about the stuff that I've done during the week.
Yeah.
Right? I did go see Rogue One this week. I got 2 hours of sleep the night before I went to go see it, and I was very grumpy. I was very just yeah. So I want to go see it again, but I didn't really. I don't know if it was just because I was in a bad mood. I don't know if it was because the people next to me at the Alamo were doing that thing where it's they were talking but not enough to actually get them thrown out. And that the server kept they needed to order 12 things over the course of their movie. So
I don't go to the Alamo.
Kept having. I know, but I can pick what seat I want at the Alamo. That's the draw for me. But it didn't do a lot for me. It's kind of funny how people are just oh my God, the greatest Star Wars movie of all. I got talking with somebody, I think I was talking with Bo, and he was like, it's the best one since Empire. And I was like, I just don't see it. I don't know.
I'm going to say this. I have not seen the movie yet.
Mm-hmm.
But let's all look back to episode 1.
Sure.
When it first came out.
Sure.
Everyone was like, this movie is amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone said this movie is amazing.
I said it a bunch of times.
It took around 3 to 6 months before the newness of it being Star Wars wore off for people to go, maybe that movie wasn't as good as I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have gone to see it 26 times in the theater. Maybe I shouldn't have bought all of the toys. Oh God, that movie sucked. It literally was a slow process. Now, mind you, we've had more Star Wars. We've had episode 7, more Star Wars since then. So people's expectations are not as. Hell, even with episode 7, which I loved.
I've come to
people came out of it going, "This was the best Star Wars movie ever made," and then a little bit later, it was like, no, it has some flaws, but it's a good Star Wars movie.
Yeah. I think that here's the thing: is I don't want to come out I'm really not trying to get on this podcast and be like Rogue One sucks, because for all I know, I could go see it when I'm fully rested and in a good mood and be like, that was fantastic. It was just that I was super grumpy the first time I saw it. But one of the things that, and this is it's not a spoiler at all, because you already know this because you've seen the trailers for it. There's just
apparently there's a lot of clips in the trailers that aren't in the movie.
2016 to me has had this problem, and I've talked about it a few times. I've talked about it with Final Fantasy. I've talked about it with Uncharted. I've talked about it with a few other things, right? I feel like, actually, Final Fantasy isn't a good example, but Uncharted 4 is. I feel like 2016 has just had a lot of fan service in it. That there's just been a ton of you like that, don't you? Here's more of that. And I think it's worth noting that fan service can be overdone. That when you get too much of that, then, I don't know. I'm such a junkie for brand new things that I don't like fans. I like a very small amount of fan service. Like in episode 7, and I'm a full-on spoiler territory. It's been a year, right, for episode 7.
Yeah.
If the only thing from OG Star Wars had been that Rey and Finn got on the Millennium Falcon, when they panned over to the Millennium Falcon, I was like, ooh, and I'm like, great, Millennium Falcon. That's from the first one. If they spent the rest of the movie just driving the Millennium Falcon around, having adventures, and there was no goddamn Han Solo and Chewbacca and Luke and Leia and all that, all the people, I would have been happy with that amount of reference to the original films, right? It's just that you keep throwing that stuff out there, and it's like, oh, you like cantinas. Here's another cantina scene. It's like, well, yeah, I liked that scene because it was unique when I first saw it. But when you give it to me a second time, the uniqueness of it is less. And I guess there's a little bit of a, there's a little bit of a squirt there. Like, actually, I'll be honest with you. This is probably going to be a really, really controversial statement. And it could be because I'm tired and delirious. I feel like episode 1 had the right amount of fan service in it. Because what they had was R2-D2 and C-3PO. There was no...
And Tatooine.
And Tatooine. Okay. But that was enough, right? You weren't dragging out Baby Lando or see, in episode 3 when they brought in Chewbacca, that just felt a little bit like much. Why does Chewbacca need to have fought with Yoda? What possible... How does that enhance your storyline that's about this and this? But like in episode 1, it was very sparse. And when I first saw R2-D2, I was like, "Yay, it's R2-D2." But that, and then it turns out that Anakin built C-3PO, which is dumb. But that was enough for me. And I feel like a lot of things these days have gotten so burdened in their own fandom that they don't feel free to go do other stuff. And because Rogue One is an interquel, I feel like it has a lot of fan service that kind of bogs it down a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say any more than that. And like I said, I really do want to stress here that I'm not like putting I'm not saying, Rogue One, 0 out of 10. Jeff says it's crap. Don't go see it,
Here's the thing. I know that based on the people that have seen the movie, that I'm going to like it. Yeah. Based on the people whose opinions, who have seen the movie, who I know, who I trust, I'm going to like the movie. I want to see it. Yeah. I haven't been able to see it because I haven't had time to go see it, unfortunately. Sure. That's just the unfortunate nature of my life at the moment.
Plus, it's been crazy recently. Yeah. It's just been nuts.
Well, it's also that, if I go to the movies, I want to go with Amanda because... I want to go to the movies with her. It's why I haven't seen Doctor Strange. And I'm not angry because, oh, man, she can't go to the movies when I can go to the movies. It's just our schedules haven't allowed for it.
Sure.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go see the movies on my own. Like, even if she were to say, John, you can go see Rogue One without me, I wouldn't. Because I want to see it with her.
Yeah.
Same with Doctor Strange. So it's one of those things that I haven't got to go see it. I want to go see it. But I know that when I go see it, I'm going to like it just because of the opinions of the people who I trust.
Yeah.
And even if and I know them well enough that even if their opinions are skewed by the fact that, like, oh my God, it's Star Wars and anything Star Wars is awesome.
Right.
I can still expect to like it even based on that because I know them well enough to be able to put my expectations in the right spot.
You don't have to gauge like their 100% reaction and go like, okay, well, for me, everything I say, you're going to tone it down by like 25%.
Well, even then, it's like, well, my reaction could be where their reaction is,
right?
Or if they are over exaggerating it because it's Star Wars, I know to temper it this much.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably go see it again with my folks while they're in town, and I will come back and let you guys know because I do want to see it again. Like I said. It's just super. I mean, like zero sleep, like fighting to stay awake, just cranky. So it's very possible that I might have been able to enjoy it more. But I tell you what did nothing for me when it came to the nostalgia bomb, like self-referential, whatever, is last week we had a trailer for Blade Runner 2049. Now, I'm going to say the same thing that I said about The Last of Us with this. I like Blade Runner. I've seen Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Blade Runner is a great movie. I didn't really... there's no part of me that was ever like, I want more Blade Runner in my life.
Oh, see, me, I always wanted more Blade Runner.
Really? Okay.
I just I didn't even need it to be... Here's the thing. I didn't need it to be about Deckard.
Right.
Like, I just wanted more movies in that world.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't have to have anything to do with him. It could have been completely different characters in the same city or in another city that just happens to make some type of tangential or, tangible, whatever the fuck.
Tangential?
Yeah, thank you. Tangential connection to the original movie. That's fine.
Right.
That I really love the world of Blade Runner. Okay. I've actually watched all 6 million versions of the cut of the movie.
Yeah.
Because there's like 5 or 6.
I guess that just this trailer, I mean, like, I don't know. It's got, so Ryan Gosling is what? He's the new kind of
Blade Runner.
Replicant hunter, yeah. But I feel like dragging out Harrison Ford in this trailer, like, kind of...
It's the Chewie we're home moment.
Yeah, but again, I mean, like, that could have been something really incredible if they try to keep that under wraps and let you see it in the movie. I don't know. I mean, again, I just am getting super tired of sequels, remakes, reboots, and re-releases of things already. Like, I just want more new stuff. It's why Doctor Strange is probably one of my favorite movies that I saw this year. I probably liked Doctor Strange more. I need to see it a bunch more times, but I probably liked Doctor Strange more on first blush than Civil War, because Civil War was dealing with a whole bunch of characters and plot arcs and things that I've seen before, whereas Doctor Strange was this brand new thing that I hadn't seen any of this before, brand new story. And yeah, it was kind of a generic origin story, but at least it was different characters, different visuals. It wasn't just like, hey, it's Tony Stark for the 8th time. You like Tony Stark. Here's more Tony Stark. But I don't know. I guess I'm just 2016 has made me grumpy for everything.
Apparently. Like I said, I liked what I saw of the trailer.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I could have done without seeing having Harrison Ford narrate it and then also appear in it.
Yeah.
Like if they had just showed me some imagery and showed me some of the city and been like Ryan Gosling, and even if they'd put Harrison Ford's name in it, because we already know he's part of it. We know he's in the movie. We knew he was in the movie the moment it was announced.
See, I guess that's my thing. I didn't even know this was a thing until I saw this trailer. And I was like, why are you making another Blade Runner? And then it's like, oh, okay, because... I mean, I don't know. Like, between this and Episode 7, I'm like, are we just going to have to sit through... like a new version of every Harrison Ford movie from the 80s because we don't have any goddamn new...
Well, we need Air Force One too next.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Get off my plane again!
No, it's got to be on a train this time, so it can say, get off my train. No, but you know what? There's the next...
Train Conductor 1?
Yeah, the next Tom Clancy movie with old Harrison Ford in it, or yet another Indiana Jones movie with old Harrison. I guess this isn't a new thing.
We are supposed to be getting another Indiana Jones movie.
I guess it's just
the rumor, according to rumors.
I like Harrison Ford as much as the next guy, but you know what I really liked is I liked Harrison Ford in Ender's Game, because I hadn't seen him in a long time, and it was just like, oh yeah, Harrison Ford's still a good actor, but
you
he
didn't
was
watch
also
Cowboys vs. Aliens?
Oh no, I didn't. I was like, ooh, that looks fun, and then it came out, and I was like, oh yeah, that can't. Nah, fuck it, I don't.
I heard it was terrible. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. I guess I'm just like, as much as I hate to get on board the thing that South Park is currently doing.
Yeah.
Like, they have this whole plot line about the member berries, about everybody, these little it's like the little grapes with little faces on them, and all they say is like, remember the Tauntauns, remember that cantina? Oh, I remember. And I kind of feel like there's a part of that where it's, every other fucking thing that I'm looking at is just another instance, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and Rogue One, and like this, and even Westworld, which I actually really enjoyed, just being a rehash, or not a rehash, but being a continuation of an old series. I guess I'm just wanting to see some more new ideas, and it feels to me like there's, and this is not a new thing, but just that this year has just been choked with sequels and remakes and new, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm kind of excited for it. Like, I actually really like Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
And I think,
well, he is so dreamy.
Well, yes. What's funny is I've liked him back when he was young Hercules.
Yeah.
So I've been a fan.
You a Ryan Gosling hipster?
Yes.
Did you like him before he was cool?
Yes, I did. I liked Ryan Gosling back when he was young Hercules, before he was cool.
Yeah.
But no, I think this looks interesting. I'm excited for it. I've been actually excited for the Blade Runner movie since they kind of announced it.
Okay.
I know you said you weren't even aware of it.
No.
But, so I was really, I like I said, I'm excited for it. Like, not, I will say, I'm not excited for it like in the, oh my God, I have to see it now. But I'm excited like, okay, this looks like Blade Runner while at the same time looking different than Blade Runner. I'm on board. I like what I see. I'll be there when it comes out.
Okay.
Like, literally, that's...
I think, okay, so...
I could never see another trailer between now and its release date, and I would totally go see it. Now, having said that, we both know that there will be a slew of trailers that come out between now and its release date.
So many. But, okay, so fortunately, this week, the internet has provided me with the perfect counterpoint to my nostalgia wankathon problems that I've been having, and that is the trailer for John Wick Chapter 2. Now...
It goes off!
It's going off! So here's the thing. John Wick last year came out of nowhere, and is like my favorite thing of all time.
Yeah,
I fucking love John Wick.
John Wick is great. Like,
yeah, It's amazing because Keanu, like up until this point, the most badass that Keanu had ever been was Neo in The Matrix, and now I'm just like, John Wick looks like he would eat Neo's fucking knees.
Yeah,
I mean, in this trailer, it's it's just a bunch of explosions and hard like rap music, and there's like some new like ladies working at a 1950s
Well, it's showing more of the assassin underworld kind of thing, which I really like.
Yeah.
Which is I wanted more on. Like, hell, I even said after the first John Wick came out, I wanted a TV series that was just based on the hotel.
Yeah.
And like it would like each episode could be its own story about a different assassin.
Sure.
But it all takes like it's almost like what's his name's character could totally be like a crypt keeper type like introducer for like narrator for the movie. Like, let me tell you
the dude from Fringe that was the bell.
Oh yeah,
is that who you're talking about? Okay.
No. I'm like the dude who actually runs the hotel. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Like his name is blanking on me at the moment. Like him. And I say him pointing at the screen, knowing that
we're watching the trailer right now.
We're watching the trailer, and the people listening can't see what I was talking about.
Yeah,
But no, like I wanted a series just with him, like doing intros and outros into a story, talking about like some hit or something going on, and just have it be like an anthology series where each episode is its own story. Maybe have them all connect, like in the very end, like there's some thing that connects them all, or don't.
Right.
I don't really care. Like I just want more of that goddamn world.
Yeah. No. I
want more badass action, and this movie and this trailer looks like it's giving it to us.
I think that's what I'm saying is that like John Wick came out last year, and I started hearing from people like Bride's House, be like, "Have you seen John Wick?" I'm like, "Who? What Wigs?" And he's like, "Go watch fucking John Wick." And then I went and fucking watched John Wick, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is great!" It's not connected to anything. It's just a fucking action movie. Like it didn't have to be.
Yeah.
To be successful, it didn't have to reference. It didn't have to be a new Die Hard movie or like a new Terminator movie that's fucking up the timeline again or something. It could just be Keanu Reeves with kind of dumb facial hair shooting everybody for 90 minutes. I was very happy. Like it's the most simple movie I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, it's essentially the fucking Liam Neeson Taken movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally thing happens, main character has to go kill a bunch of motherfuckers. Movie ends.
No, he actually even announces what's going to happen in the movie.
Yeah.
He just says like, "I'm going to go kill everybody," and they're like, and I love the part where he's like, "How do we stop him?" He's like, "You don't stop him. He's just going to come kill all of us." And then that's exactly what happens. It's a spoiler for the movie inside of the movie. It was amazing. I'd love to see more stuff like John Wick. And great, we're getting a new John Wick February. It looks like it's bigger. It looks like it's expanding the universe. It looks like more gritty Keanu one-liners, explosions. The dog, I don't know if that dog's going to make it till the end of the movie.
He
John.
better. like that. Like you can't kill the dog. You can't kill a dog twice. You can't go back to that well now that you've done it once.
Yeah. But yeah.
Otherwise, he's just going to murder everyone.
That's right.
Like he's not even going to go after the mob people. He's going to murder everyone.
He's going to kill the world.
Yeah.
Yep. No, but this looks amazing. This looks fantastic. I've watched this trailer a whole bunch of times. I'm good to go.
Looks good. Like I can't wait for it. And it came out the same day as the Blade Runner trailer.
Yeah.
And like everyone was talking about Blade Runner and not this, and I'm like, what?
But what about John Wick, motherfucker? John Wick.
And then, like, the next day, everyone started talking about the John Wick trailer.
Yeah. I think the original John Wick... Okay, was Fury Road last year, or was that the year before?
I think that was also last
15?
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's one where... like maybe that's another one that I can add to my list of, like... That was a kind of a sequel, kind of a reboot. I guess it was technically a sequel.
It was a sequel. The other movies happened.
But... like that movie structurally was put together to the point where it wasn't like
you didn't need to see anything else.
You didn't need to see anything else. It wasn't elbowing you with nostalgia every 10 minutes. Like there was a new bad guy. There was a new, even though Immortan Joe was the same actor as what's his name in the first one, Ram Tooth Toe Cutter. Yeah.
But they've done that in all the movies.
But that was fine as well.
Like even the Mel Gibson movies, they reused actors in every movie.
Oh,
the same actor got reused multiple times.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like not that same actor, but different actors appeared multiple times.
Yeah.
Like the guy in the first Mad Max movie who was the partner. with the blonde hair. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
He appears as a villain in a later movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I can't remember. Like, it's been a while since I've watched them all, but there's a character from almost every movie that appears in a different movie.
Fair enough. All right. Well, from there, let's jump through this news so we can get to a game of the year. This is going to be a real fast news cycle. I'm going to keep things...
Because it's the end of the year, there ain't shit.
There is really not a lot to talk about. So, first up, there was a little bit of a splash where Blizzard put out another one of their Overwatch comics.
It was good.
And I didn't actually read it, but it turns out that Tracer is... I don't know, gay or bisexual.
Yeah, she has a partner that she lives with who is female.
Yep.
And they show that she gives her a gift and they kiss, and they don't make what I liked about it is the comic didn't feel like it was being hammered over my head.
Yeah.
Like it was oh my god, that's her, her partner, like her, whatever.
Right.
But it didn't feel like I was being pandered to about it.
Yeah.
Like that's and then it moved on. Like it wasn't even like let's focus on this for a little bit. It's like, no, we're moving on to the next thing, because it was the way the story is structured is it's basically how do each of the Overwatch characters spend their holidays.
Oh, okay. I didn't read it. How did Reaper spend his holidays?
Basically stalking some lady and guy and a kid, which I can only assume was, at least that's what it looked like. It was literally just a panel. Most people just got a panel. I think what's funny is most people who were upset by something were like, wait, Farah and Mercy are not a couple. What the fuck? Because people ship characters in the game.
Yeah.
Or the fact that Torbjorn has 12 kids.
Yeah.
He has a wife and they have 12 kids, and he's hanging out with fucking Reinhardt, who is reading A Christmas Story to said army of children.
Yep.
And everyone's like, wait, now I have to pick. Now I've pictured Torbjorn having sex with that woman in my head, and I can't get that out. God damn you, Blizzard.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't actually read through the comic. I just kind of looked at the announcement, and I mean, this is just one of those shrug things that this is one of those.
Cool.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, I don't feel like there's any. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't affect the. I mean, that's the thing about all this Overwatch backstory.
Regardless of what
game.
Regardless of who each fictional Overwatch character chooses to bang in their spare time, has absolutely no effect on the fact that Genji, you need to stay on the goddamn point. Stay on the fucking payload.
Yeah, I think that there were some people that were. I can only assume that there were some people that were upset about this. I don't really understand that, because God only knows. That one, it doesn't affect any sort of gameplay, and two, I've looked at a bit of Overwatch porn in my time, and nobody seems to give a shit about who prefers what or where, or even what gender people are. So
there actually isn't any hubbub of people being upset. I mean,
okay,
I'm sure
good.
I mean, having said that, there probably are some people. I think a lot of it is just people like, oh, I bet there are people upset, so I'm going to fight that before it becomes a thing.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there are some people that are upset because of the fact that Tracer is the icon of the game. She's
on the cover.
She's on the front cover. She's the box character. She is the face of the game. And there are some people that see that as a great thing, because the LGBTQ community is like, hey, not only are we represented in this game, but the face of the game is the one that represents us.
Sure.
And that's, and there are some people that are like, well, I have issues with that because of X reason or whatnot. Most people who actually have issues, it's the fact that she's not in a relationship with another character in the game, and that it's some character who's not in the game at all.
I love that that's where we've gotten to. It's like, how dare you break my mental...
Yeah, it's because the fans have created this weird ship
it's like a whole headcanon.
Yeah, like headcanon. Like it's Tracer and Widowmaker, and even though they're enemies, they secretly love each other. And Farah and Mercy, and Reinhardt and Anna and Torbjorn and somebody else, and
Bastion probably. I mean, that's really the only way I can see that going down.
But they have they like to fans like to ship the characters, especially given the fact that the game has so little story to it as it is.
Right.
And then so when they're presented with actual canonical story that contradicts what they've built up in their head, they're upset.
Yeah, no, I can understand.
And so that's really where most of from what I've seen, that's where most of the upsetness comes from.
No, you know what? I take that back. Like, come on, guys. Like, do you know how much? And this is like the I don't know. I'm sure there was shit before that, but the progenitor that always springs to my mind whenever I hear about shipping is Kirk Spock / Vic.
Yeah.
Okay. Never a thing. Never a thing on the show. But totally a thing in people's heads.
But that's also different because because people came up with that after being presented with the canonical story. Again, the difference is that the story is so little defined that people have gone, well, it's also the fact that, like the whole Gremlin Diva thing. Like, oh, it's Diva. She's a gamer, but she's also a brat.
Right.
And like none of that is in the game.
Yep.
Like they jokingly referenced it in a...
There's one of the win animations or emotes or something.
The win poses for the Halloween event. If you actually look at the back of her gravestone, it's 2 Dorito chips.
Oh, no, there's another one they added in that has her literally like in there like with a fake Mountain Dew can.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Doritos,
that's actually like an emote.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's we're fans, and they'll take some of that, and the Blizzard community go, well, that's cute. We'll include that, or
sure,
we'll make a joke about that. We'll acknowledge the joke. But it's like, some people are so serious about it because it's like, well, Blizzard didn't make the story. I made the story. And, oh, she is gay. I was right. But what? She's not with Widowmaker? What the fuck shit is this?
There are plenty of things in this world to get more upset about than the fact that your fucking headcanon / fic wasn't represented by the official producer of the thing.
Having said that, I don't even think those people are upset as they actually are, or as they're claiming to be. I think a lot of it's like, I think in all honesty, most people are like, cool.
Yeah.
Or they're like, how does that affect the game? It doesn't. Moving on.
Yeah.
Kind of literally one of those two things. I think
that's great. Because, I mean, at this point, it's one of those things where, personally, I'm like, seems great. Doesn't affect the video game, so could kind of care less. Like, I don't even read. I haven't even read half the comics. I've read
all of them. They're all great.
I watch the shorts. I like the shorts quite a bit, but
yeah, no, the shorts are fun too. But the comics are great. I hope one day when they finally get through doing all of the ones that they plan to do, that they release them as a collection.
Okay,
because I like a hardcover physical collection, because I would totally buy the shit out of that.
All right, next up on the list, Square has actually set an official date for the Final Fantasy 30th anniversary ceremony. Which will be on January 31st. There's not really a whole lot going on there, and I feel like we already have most of the information about what's coming out for that. But it'd be nice to see some new trailers and, just get a I want a price tag. I want a price tag on that goddamn box that's got every Final Fantasy game and movie except for The Spirits Within.
Speaking of movies that we went to half asleep to,
yeah,
that was a movie I went into after not having slept for 24 hours, and fell asleep during in the movie theater. And I was the only person in the theater as well.
This is probably the final nail in the coffin to just to remove any credibility that I may have ever had. But I don't think that Spirits Within is as bad as people.
Oh no, it's not a bad movie. I actually like it, but it's not a.
It's not a good movie. It's not a great movie, but it's not like.
Here's the thing: it's a bad Final Fantasy movie.
Okay.
Like, it's a bad movie to be Final Fantasy. Is it a good... Like, if you look at it as a movie on its own, it's a little slow, it's a little dull.
It's got a lot of Uncanny Valley problems.
Yeah, but it's not a bad movie. Like, it's not a terrible movie. It's just not great.
Room is a bad movie. Final Fantasy Spirits Within is...
Yeah, okay, I can give you that.
Okay. So anyway, if you're into Final Fantasy, keep an eye out. We had a couple of trailers. These are one is actually one that we never went over. Apparently, Dynasty Warriors 9 has been announced.
Oh, okay.
So there was a very, very short teaser for Dynasty Warriors 9. This will actually be, if I'm not mistaken, there's not really much here. It just kind of shows a big army all lining up, and then it's more of like a motion comic than it is an actual trailer. But what I was actually kind of surprised, which I had forgotten about, is that this is the... Let's see. This will be the first actual Dynasty Warrior games since 2013.
Oh wow!
Is that they've been doing all those spin-offs of like Hyrule Warriors and What are some of the other ones? Gundams and, the Attack on Titan and those things. So this will be the first one.
Was the Attack on Titan game a Dynasty Warrior game?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's made by, what are they? Goddamn, what the hell are the name of those guys? My brain is just completely...
okay.
Omega Force?
Oh, okay.
I believe. Pretty sure.
No, all right.
So, I'm always kind of half and half about Dynasty Warriors. I wish they would up their game a little bit.
Maybe they are.
More. Maybe
that's what Dynasty Warriors 9 is going to be. Is it's going to be a totally upped their game.
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to play it, and it's going to be like, holy shit, they upped their game. I didn't expect that.
I feel like your enjoyment of. I've always said that I feel like your enjoyment of a Dynasty Warrior game is completely predicated on whether or not you are into the franchise that is the base for that game. So, like Hyrule Warriors, I thoroughly enjoyed Hyrule Warriors because I like Zelda. I liked Attack on Titan a fair amount. But some of the other ones, it's just like the main Dynasty Warrior games I've never been as interested in because I'm just not as much of a fan of that particular kind of historical ancient Chinese. It's Chinese, right?
I don't know.
Okay, except for Lu Bu. Nobody fucking with Lu Bu. Have you ever played a Dynasty Warriors game? Lu Bu has a dumb hat. He will wreck your shit. Remember that, John.
Okay.
Next up, we have a trailer for another. It's like a story trailer for Vampire. Darkness Within, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the next one from the folks who made Life is Strange.
Yeah, I remember this. We watched it at E3 on the live stream.
Yeah,
we were like, oh shit, because you left, and we were like, oh shit, this game plays like Dark Souls.
Yeah,
Jeff's gonna lose his shit.
This is not. This is actually mostly just a story trailer that is kind of going over it's just kind of going over the idea that it seems like the main character that you're playing is a doctor, and he's always at night, and then you get kind of like a I don't know if this is London in particular that is being plagued by monsters and such, and it's just a bunch of cutscenes with a bunch of voiceovers of people going like, oh, streets aren't safe at night anymore, and like, oh, I hear that new doctor is very good, that kind of trailer. But it looks good. Like, it looks kind of gothic and funky, and it's made in Unreal Engine, so there's kind of some limits as to how crappy it can look. But I don't know. This is one that I'm definitely keeping my eye on, because
it's definitely one to keep. Because I wouldn't mind a good vampire game.
I mean,
you haven't really had a good one of those in a while.
Trying to think what the last one was. Don't remember. Dark Brother or the Vampire Dawnguard and Skyrim. Yeah, the thing is that I actually really like these developers, but Life is Strange, I always kind of meant to play it, but never got around to it. And then they did Remember Me before that, which I've heard Remember Me was badly.
I didn't like Remember Me.
Panned when it came out, but I feel like later on people were like, it wasn't that bad.
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I don't think I hate I didn't hate it or anything, but I was just like I don't like this game.
Yeah. Next, this is one that I just got off of Reddit, off of the Reddit video game forum. This is called Yuppie Psycho, and this is one that if you haven't heard about this, I do not blame you, because this is one of those deep cuts that you only get if you're desperately looking for trailers to put on your podcast.
Were you desperately looking?
Yes. But this actually turns out to be kind of nifty. It's kind of got like a JRPG perspective to it, and it's about this kid, kind of a salaryman suit, and then it's all very kind of pixel graphics, and he's getting hired on at a new company, but then the trailer very quickly kind of devolves into what looks like that his job may have a fair amount of supernatural violence and weirdness going on in it. John's actually seeing this for the first time, but there's a part where that's over here in a minute where there's a copy machine that's got a bunch of hands coming off of it that's walking around, and
Creepy.
there's blood and violence all over this office, and everything's super dark and stuff. Looks kind of cool. I think it's going through Greenlight right now. They have an advertisement for their Greenlight thing, but the art, the game art is kind of simple, but the kind of cutscene stuff all looks really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out Yuppie Psycho.
YuppiePsycho.com.
Like I said, I'm a sucker for the new, man. I'll take whatever I can get. And then finally, I actually didn't get a chance to fully watch this trailer, but the full trailer for Seasons of Heaven, which is an indie game for the Nintendo Switch, came out. Did you by any chance?
I have not even heard of this. I don't even know what it is.
There was a teaser last week for it, and I've mostly been interested in it. It looks like a puzzle game or like kind of an adventure-y type of thing, but it's very pretty, and I think that it's interesting to see something. It's interesting to see what I hope is indicative of the graphical fidelity of the Nintendo Switch, because this is a good looking. I mean, what I saw last time was just this opening part, but the lighting effects and the shading effects and the Unreal Engine 4, it's a little herky jerky in the trailer, but if they can get that smoothed out, I feel like if this is the level of graphics that we can expect from the Nintendo Switch, that. Maybe not as impressive on a big old, if you have a 60-inch plasma OLED TV, but definitely on that screen, definitely playing something of this graphical fidelity on a
look at that dog
on a tablet would be.
Bring back the dog.
You want the dog?
There we go. Look at that dog.
Oh, it's a pug. This kid's got a little.
Actually, I don't think that's a pug. I think it's a
English bulldog.
Yeah.
We got Mo statues shooting lasers. I don't know. Looks pretty cool. Looks like some stealth elements. See if there's some monsters around. I like the little wings the kid's got on his backpack. Oh, you gotta put your dog up in places.
Yeah, you gotta take the dog with you.
Climb trees. Oh, the dog's
you get to control the dog at some point. Nice. So it's like a switch between two characters.
There you go. A Nintendo Switch between two characters.
Oh shit!
Aha! Woo! One rolls right off the tongue. I don't know, but this seems pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems neat.
Seasons of Heaven. It also, like I said, it looks real nice, which is something. What was it? You who told me that in that initial Nintendo Switch video that that Skyrim wasn't actually running on that it was just like Nintendo asked Bethesda, "Hey, can we put Skyrim in this video?" And they were like, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah.
But yeah, this looks good. I'm actually really looking forward to in January. They're supposed to have a new Nintendo Direct with a new.
Yeah, in January, and I think certain stores in certain cities are getting demos and Best Buys or whatever.
Okay,
so that you can actually physically. I don't know if Austin's getting one though. We may be boned on that front, sir.
Son of a bitch. All right, speaking of Nintendo, we got a couple of other stories from them. The first one is that Super Mario Run got 40 million downloads in 4 days.
Yep.
How you been playing it?
Yeah, I've been liking it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been playing it. I paid the $10 for it. I like it. They even added a new mode to it recently where where you can actually, if you have friends with your friends list and you've linked it with your Nintendo account, you can actually. It's almost like a training for the Toad Rally mode.
Okay.
Because with Toad Rally, you fight against, you race against other players. Basically, essentially, they're ghosts, they're raced ghosts or whatever.
Okay.
But they cost a ticket to do it. Mm-hmm. And so if you run out of tickets, you can't do it. But if you do this little friend rally, you can actually race your friends, and it doesn't cost anything. But I think there's a limit to how many times you can do it.
I thought you were going to say, and all my friends suck balls. So
no. Actually, I haven't linked mine with my Nintendo account. I need to do it, though, because apparently if you don't link it with your Nintendo account and you delete the game from your console, it doesn't register that or from your tablet.
From your phone, yeah.
If you re-download it again, it doesn't register that you bought it.
Oh. God damn it, Nintendo.
So the only way you can make sure that you're always registered is by linking it to your Nintendo account. That way, if you delete it or get a new tablet, you can then link that with your Nintendo account and go, oh, no, you've already bought this. You're good.
Okay. Jeez.
I don't know if that's true, but that's something I was reading of one of the reasons why you want to link it with your Nintendo account.
Okay.
Because if you delete it from your tablet, it won't register that you bought it. Otherwise.
That's kind of crappy. And last but not least, last and somewhat least, at least for the Nintendo news, another Pokemon fan project got axed.
Aw, shucks.
Pokemon Prism was something that was being like a ROM hack for Pokemon Color.
Yeah.
And Nintendo came in and was like, which, I mean, I feel like after 2016 at this point, we know, you guys know, right? You all know between the Battlefront and A2MR and Pokemon Uranium, if you're working on a fan thing, you cannot talk about it until it's out. Do not release any information. Do not make a trailer.
Do not even make a website.
No, yeah. Don't tell anybody. You keep it a secret. Don't tell your mom. Don't tell your family.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
What was the other thing? The Metal Gear, Unreal Engine 4 Metal Gear or whatever they were redoing, and it was just like, well, but of course you got. I mean, Nintendo has shown that they have no sense of humor for this shit, that they are litigious, and that they do not want to even give people a chance to do stuff. So, just...
well, it's also, they got to protect their intellectual property rights.
That's true.
Because, I mean, you paint these companies as a big bad guy, but here's the thing. All it takes is one moment of them going, you know what, we'll allow it, and then they lose the rights forever.
It's not quite as cut and dry as that, but... it does open the door.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It opens the door for them losing the rights forever. So it's one of those things that, because rights are so fucking whatever, they have to. They have to.
They sort of have to, but there have been other. Okay, listen. I know all that. I've actually made that argument before, but Nintendo is more litigious than a lot of other companies.
Okay.
Like, they're the kind of company that were going after individual users for having ROMs of NES games on their computer. They are a company that, as long as I have known them, have had a reputation as being more strict and more litigious about anything. I mean, hell, they're the ones who other companies would do content matches and stuff like that, but Nintendo, you remember, 2 years ago, Nintendo was just like, if it's a Nintendo game, we're taking the money off of YouTube. Like, if the game you play was on a Nintendo console, we're going to take the money, and we're not going to ask any questions. And then this year or late last year, they were like, well, we've got a new thing where you can sign up with us, and we'll maybe give you half your money back. And it was just like... fuck you, Nintendo. Let's give your games exposure and get people excited about them. And you're just like, we're taking all the money. That belongs to us. And before that, before they even started doing that, they used to just knock them all down. And their whole thing was, for 2 or 3 years, they were coming out every 6 months saying, if you just let people put your videos of your game on YouTube, nobody will want to play your game. They'll just watch the game and then they won't buy it. It was like, Anyway, I'm sorry. I mean, Nintendo in my mind, because of the way that they were always very, 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 very harsh with the thing that tweaked my nipples was that they were very harsh about ROMs and ROM sites, but they would not give you any ability to purchase those same games elsewhere, right? So it's a little unpleasant when you're like, hey, I want to play Secret of Mana, and I can totally get it off this website, or I can pay somebody a bunch of money and try to drag out an old Super Nintendo or whatever, and that a lot of companies kind of let that stuff go and didn't see a huge amount of fallout because of it.
Yeah.
But Nintendo was always very, 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 very strict about making sure. I mean, all you gotta do is look at this stuff, where Pokemon Uranium put their shit out on Friday at 5 o'clock when they knew that Nintendo was kind of shutting down for the weekend, and they were able to get one weekend out of it until Monday when they came in, and then they were immediately just like, get out of here. But anyway, Atlas is making a new RPG.
Hey,
yep,
good for them.
They got a single piece of concept art. The thing I find kind of interesting about this is that it's some of the Persona and Shin Megami Tensei team doing it.
Yeah,
and I like Atlas, and they tend to. Atlas does if I'm not mistaken, they do a lot of publishing, but I also really like the games that they put out. Some part of me wishes that I managed to get into the Shin Megami Tensei series, because there was a new one of those this year, and I never heard anything bad about it. So, and last but not least, before we get to our Game of the Year talks, did you see this where people are on Reddit exchanging Christmas gifts? There's a subreddit, Reddit Gifts. Is a website where you can sign up and you get randomly matched with a person, and you send them a gift, and then somebody else sends you a gift. And this one user called Eric's, to her, who didn't actually know this, got matched with Bill Gates.
I thought that was on Imager. And not Reddit.
I think it's on Reddit,
because Reddit or Imager has that.
Yeah,
and it was, and I want to say that was Imager that had that. That it happened on Imager, and maybe Reddit Gifts is talking about it. But I was pretty sure that happened on.
I don't know. either way, Bill Gates sent these fine folks just a boatload of swag. Not only, I mean, they got an Xbox One Slim.
I love the fact that they photoshopped a picture of, like, they found a picture of the person with her husband wearing Christmas hats.
Yep.
So then they photoshopped Bill Gates into the picture with them, and then framed it and sent it to them.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. I was looking at that one kind of like, so yeah, not only did I get an Xbox One Slim and 3 controllers, and it was like I think they got like Halo 5 and Forza Horizon 3. They got like 12 months of Xbox Live, but then they also threw in a bunch of Nintendo shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the person said that their favorite game franchise is Zelda.
Right.
So they got them a bunch of Zelda stuff.
Yep, threw in like a bunch of Zelda, like blankets and like dog sweaters.
And like mittens and for the dogs.
The thing that makes me more what's that thing when you want what other people want? Jealous is that they also threw an NES Classic in there. So yeah, quite a haul from Mr. Gates. I guess if I was one of the richest people in the world and had nothing but free time.
I've actually heard that he does this every year.
Yeah.
This is not new.
Yeah.
I even know because Amanda took part in the Imager Secret Santa thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me like that one person got Bill Nye the Science Guy. Mm-hmm. And another person actually, Adam Savage of Mythbusters actually announced that he was going to be a part of it. So someone was going to be getting a gift from him.
Oh, cool.
And like he even said, he's like, I'm making my gift personally for whoever I get. And it was just like, well, that person's going to be freaking out because they're getting something from Adam Savage that was made specifically for them.
Yeah. That's cool though. It's nice in these turbulent times to see, people getting fucking Christmas gifts from Bill Gates.
Yeah. I mean, I think even someone else said that they got a Christmas gift from Snoop Dogg as part of it, as part of that same thing. Like,
nice.
They didn't show what the gift was, but they showed like the card, and it was like, "We hope you have a good X-Mizzle."
Just a shoebox full of weed. Just a shoebox filled to the top with weed. It's like, oh, holy shit! I can't put this on the internet.
Yeah, but it's just like and it's just like from your pal Snoop, from your Secret Santa Snoop.
Nice.
Just like, all right, cool.
I want to have Secret Santa with Snoop Dogg.
Nice. So it's like I know a lot of people, because a lot of famous people do participate in like the Imager Secret Santa. So I know a lot of people try to do it in hopes that they get
one of the famous people.
Yeah, one of the famous people. Then some other people do it just because they want to participate in a Secret Santa.
Yeah,
like they don't care who it's from.
Yeah,
like I know that was the Amanda's thing. She was like, "Oh no, I'm totally doing this. I want to do this year. I've totally." And she's like, "And I'm gonna." And she even came up with an idea that she made her Secret Santa's gift and sent it out to that person, which was funny because our Secret Santa's in Houston. Oh, so it was just like she was like, I didn't know that they were gonna give me someone from Houston, but sure.
Yeah. And that's all the news we got. So shall we segue into the games of 2016, best games of 2016.
All right,
are you ready?
I'm ready.
You give me a very incredulous look.
I'm good.
So
I just didn't know if you wanted to put a break in there, or if you wanted to just go right into it, or
maybe, you know what? Our editors can decide whether they want to. I mean, like I don't feel like this is going to take a huge amount of time.
Let's do this.
So let's just roll right in here.
I've got my stuff up on my screen. So.
Okay, before we start, I want to lay down a few ground rules.
Oh, ground rules.
Well, for me anyway, my ground rules are as follows. There are a few games that are exempt from this for me because I don't like to put games on the list that I haven't beaten.
Okay.
So if I haven't beaten a game, it generally doesn't tend to make it on the list.
So no Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 15 and Big Dog Chicken. Last Guardian, not in this at all. I'm trying to think. There were a couple of other things that came out like kind of towards the end of the year. You get this thing.
Having said that, I won't put a game on my list if I've never played it at all.
Yeah.
Like, I have to have played it some to be able to form an opinion. Like, even if I got, like, all the way to the end but didn't beat it. Like, there are some games that I'll be like, that's fucking one of the best games of the year, but I haven't actually beaten it.
Sure.
Because, in my opinion, it's something I am going to go back to. But I went away from it for whatever reason. But I agree with you. Like, for me, it's like, if I didn't play it, it ain't on this list.
Yeah. So there, and I mostly just wanted to point that out. I mean, like Dead Rising 4 isn't on my list because I didn't beat that. It wasn't even considered. Like these very well could be great games. I mean, the thing is that I'm still not done with Final Fantasy 15. It could turn around, but over the last week, I've just been doing nothing but trying to get Christmas put together, right, and have a life. So there are things on here. Fire Emblem, I never finished the new Fire Emblem. You know, there's things on. There are things that are not on here that if you're like, girl, rabble, where is ? It's very possible that I just didn't beat that game, and so it's not on there. So these are very much my personal top 10s. And you got 10 as well?
I do have a top 10 for best games of the year.
Okay.
I do have some random honorable mentions.
Me too.
And I have like 5 like terrible games that I considered like were the worst for me.
I'm just going to chime in and go, yeah, when we do that. But let's do the traditional thing. You're a guest in this house, John. Number 10, best game of the year. John Sitton, what do you got?
Mafia 3.
Mafia 3.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, I really enjoyed that game.
Okay.
Enough so that I didn't want to put it higher in the list because I don't think it's a excellent game. Mm-hmm. But I do think it's really good.
Yeah.
And out of the games that I've played, because I've played maybe about 40 or 50 games this year.
Yeah.
Like I actually like did like a list of like every game, like whether it was mobile or 3DS or digital download or whatever. I put a list of every game that I played. And there's quite a lot. Probably not as much as you because of Rage Select and the fact that you've played fucking everything.
I didn't play as much this year as I normally do, but
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
but
I got you.
I can almost guarantee you've at least played. While you may not have beaten everything, you've played more games than I have.
Oh, that's certainly true.
Yes, yeah. So that's my point.
Yeah.
But out of the games that I have played myself, Mafia 3 was probably number 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I really struggled with it. I feel like, unfortunately, Mafia 3 is such a mixed bag where the combat can be kind of irritating at times. And
like I said, there was a lot that kept it from being higher.
Yeah, there's
almost got bumped off the list.
Right. But there's parts of it's like Mafia 3 is really great when it's good.
Yeah.
It's just that it has a lot of tedium when it's not. So
it almost got bumped by one of my honorable mentions.
Oh, there you go.
And like like to the point of like up to the point of you asking me this question, I was still considering bumping it.
Okay.
But I'm sticking with my pick of Mafia. My initial gut reaction of Mafia 3 is number 10.
Okay. My number 10 is a little game that people probably have heard of called Inside.
Never heard of it. No, I'm joking. I haven't played that game. That's one of the games I haven't actually played, so I can't actually.
Yeah, I mean it's not a very long game, and it was definitely a long time coming for like it was only 3 hours long or something like that, and it was like $20 or $30 when it first came out, it was.
I think that was one of the main reasons why I didn't play it.
Yeah, but what's there is great, and I mean like you can definitely see all the polish and time. It's really an interesting like just the kind of the mood of the game and all of the kind of weird dystopian shit going on. It also deserves, at least in my opinion, a great mention because it's a game that knows how to keep moving forward and keep giving you new types of puzzles and new types of things to interact with the world. So it never falls down. Like the thing is that they could have taken that game and stretched any one sequence out like twice as long as it was and made the game 6 hours long. It would have suffered. It would have been. It's better as a short, sweet. Not sweet at all, but as a short game that gets to the point, has a lot of really interesting kind of things, and then it's so vague and builds such an interesting world that I couldn't help but put it on here. Okay. I kept looking at it and I was like, there are a lot of reasons not to put this on here, but I really, really enjoyed my time.
Totally
with
understand.
So, number 9.
This is a recent release.
Okay,
and you're gonna probably look at me a little crazy just because it's on the list at all.
Okay,
Let It Die.
Let It Die.
Yes.
All right.
I have had so much fun with that game.
Yeah.
Like, I expected to like it, but I didn't expect to like it as much as I do.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, again, it does have its problems, but it's free, and that actually bumps it up a little bit in my mind.
Yep.
Is that I can play this game for free, and it's a fully functioning game that I've had a lot of fun with. I have had a weird issue with the updates.
Yeah.
Where the updates wants a huge amount of free space on my console to be to install.
I've seen that.
To where like I have like 400 gigs on my console that's free, and it's like, no, you need more. And I delete something that's like 3 gigs, and then it goes, okay, I can install now.
Yeah, I haven't had that bad of a problem, but I did have a time where it was like I only had 30 free, and then I deleted some things. I got to 70, and it was
it's just really weird. Like I don't know if something's going on with my console or whatever, but it's like I have like not 400, but there's like 200 gigs or something like that. Because I have a really large hard drive in my console. But
just Suda51, man. He wants you to clean house.
Yeah,
like that's all it is.
He's
if
like,
you want
need
that
to delete all these other games because you only want to play Let It Die.
No. He's doing it for you. He's like, I know you've got games on there that you haven't played in a long time. So why don't you go back, delete that PT demo, John? You're not going to play it. You're not going to play it.
Fuck you. Come on. Actually, I don't have the PT demo. I wish I did.
Oh.
But I don't have it. But it's like I really enjoy Let It Die. I love the mechanics. We talked about it before. Uncle Death is fucking hilarious. It's great.
Love Uncle Death. Love all the characters in that game.
Like it's also, while I may not be as far as say you are in the game, because I've heard how far you are, and I'm definitely not there because I die a lot, because like with Bloodborne, I'm not good at the game.
Yeah.
But I play it enough that I enjoy it. And I feel like, unlike Bloodborne, I will come back to it. Like, I feel like Bloodborne, I got to a point where after we did our sequential of it, I was like, okay, I've seen everything. I really don't have it. I don't want to go. I may come back to it at some point in the future, but I don't have any desire to go back to it immediately.
Yeah.
Whereas Let It Die, I'm like, well, I need to beat this game, and then I need to go back to Let It Die. Okay, well, I want to play this game because I've paid money for it, but I'm going to go back to Let It Die. And it's like, I know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's why it's number 9.
Okay. I mean, I feel like Let It Die does like the thing about Let It Die that I think is really interesting, that I was actually kind of sad when we were talking about it when we did it for the dojo, because there are people who were just like, oh man, I played that game for like 20 minutes, or I played that game for like 2 hours and I didn't really like it. And it's like it takes so much longer to get into all the mechanics, and unlike something like say Souls, I like the fact that Let It Die does have persistent progression for weapon skills. So when I start a brand new character, they can hit you in the face with an iron better than I could before. That progress is not wasted, and it does. I feel like it does a lot of really smart things, like forcing you to keep creating new characters, having a stable characters. It treats invasions in a very different way, the way that the haters work, as opposed to.
I really like the way that they're like, oh no, we're going to set you up so that you can actually have multiple builds.
Yeah,
and I thought it was done really ingeniously.
You're encouraged.
Yeah, and you're encouraged to do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Let It Die. Great. I forgot that one was even I kept forgetting that was even a thing. And then it came out and it was just like, oh shit. Currently I'm in the phase of games that I like where I'm like, I can't, if I load up Let It Die, I'll just end up playing it for 6 hours, and I need to not be doing that.
I know.
All right, my number 9. Number 9 is a weird pick for me as I looked back over all the games that I played this year. Far Cry Primal.
Okay.
I feel like it's a little too long. I mean, I said that when we talked about it on the thing, and I feel like there's parts of it where it starts to get a little repetitive, almost like every Far Cry game, right? But you know what? I got to give them a lot of credit. I got to give Ubisoft and the Far Cry team a lot of credit for setting a video game in a genre that we don't see before. Fucking caveman times. And, between building your village and riding on saber-toothed tigers and fucking shooting, calling your eagle to look at the world. And they did a really good job of translating a Far Cry game into a primitive time. I wish they'd been able to do a little bit more with it. I wish they had gated some of the content a little bit better and kind of funneled the character into different places. And I also wish that the upgrade tree had been larger, because I have a tendency to just max out the upgrade tree, and then it's like, well, now you're just doing the same thing for the rest of the game. Throw spear, dead.
Yeah.
But I had a really good time with Far Cry Primal.
Okay.
And part of this may be entirely because Matt Frank keeps bringing it up, and I'm like, I think Matt Frank likes it too much, but I did like it. I liked it enough to make it number 9.
I think I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah?
Like, I tried playing it, and I just couldn't do it. Like, it was boring.
Yeah? Okay, fair enough.
Then again, having said that, I'm not a huge fan of the Far Cry games.
Yeah, Far Cry is really kind of an acquired taste. I
thought maybe it being in the prehistoric times and it being that, I might be like, you know what? Maybe this is the fresh coat of paint that I needed to get into this. And it's like, no.
Yeah. All right, so number 8, John.
This is probably going to be the weird one for you're going to look at me and kind of maybe stare at me a little bit weirdly. Layers of Fear.
Okay.
This came out this year. I think it may have been in early access before this year, but the release date was this year. Okay. The actual full-on release date for PC, console, and everything.
I'll give that one to you.
I really liked this game. Like, I liked it more. Like, when we played it for a Super Awesome Video Game Show, I didn't know what to expect, and I really enjoyed it. And I went home and I bought it.
Yeah.
And then I played it more, and it was still in early access. And I got to the end of what was in early access, and then they finally released it, and I went back and played it again. And it's so good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's procedural, which I didn't realize until I actually talked to the guys at South by Southwest Gaming Expo.
Oh, okay.
Like, I was talking to him, I was like, what'd you think of the procedural aspect? And I was like, procedural aspect, what do you mean? Well, every playthrough's different. I'm like, it what?
Oh, nice. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, it's completely procedural. And I'm like, what? I didn't know. Okay, and I went back and played it, and totally it is.
Huh.
It's really good because there are moments where there are jump scares that are silly, but totally, like, I mean, it even got us in the thing where we turned around, there's a bunch of books there, we're like,
books, shit.
But it was one of those things where it legitimately, like, startled us because we weren't expecting that. But then there's also some really just interesting, like, creepy gameplay that I just really liked.
Okay.
And it stuck with me. Like, it's a game I can definitely go back to at any time, and not just because it's procedurally generated, but just because it's one of the, a lot of people look at it and go, oh, it's a walking simulator, but there's a little bit of puzzle to it as well.
Yeah. I mean, a good creepy horror game will stick with you.
Yeah.
A good creepy. I mean, even a walking simulator. Soma was. I'll never forget playing Soma. That was a really great game, and that was just a walking simulator.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always kind of wanted to go back to Layers of Fear because I liked what I saw, and always thought it might be nice to just see the whole thing. But I can't fault you for that. All right, my number 8 is Deus Ex: Mankind Divided.
I wondered if this was going to fall on your list.
It did.
It's not on my list at all. I put spoilers because it's. I didn't play it.
Yep. I gotta say, I played through the game like 3 times, so
okay.
That in and of itself should probably be
indicative.
Should tell you something. I did though have a little bit of an issue with I think I said that where New Game Plus only happens one time, so it's like I went through the entire game and then went to try to go to New Game Plus, and it just reloaded me back to the beginning of New Game Plus instead of like New Game Plus Plus. I don't know if they've changed that.
They may have fixed that,
but it was good. It was a very good Deus Ex game. I don't know if it's quite as good as the previous one, but it was still rock solid. I mean, big old world to kind of roll around in, and
I understand that.
I really enjoy Deus Ex. I really think that it's a. I'm always going to be a sucker for a game that gives you the opportunity to play the way you want to play. So I like to play Deus Ex games as a stealth game, and given the dearth of stealth games out there, I like one when it does it well. I also like the fact that if you want to, you could just turn on super armor and go in and shoot stuff. Now, I do feel that this would have been a lot higher on my list if it had had a proper ending and wasn't sequel bait and hadn't contained that dumb, stupid online...
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking
hack
about.
the planet mode. All of which seemed like it was just taking away from what was a pretty decent game. But Adam Jensen's a character that we hadn't seen for a while until this year, and I legitimately enjoyed the story for it.
Didn't it also have like the one-time use items for the story mode?
I think it had that at the beginning. I don't know if they ever changed that. But yeah, the thing is that all that stuff, from what I can tell, feels like Square Enix dicking with. And in case it's this is such a spoiler foreshadowing. What can I be talking about? Square Enix has dicked with 2 of the games on this list in ways where I feel like they were detrimental to the games, but at the end of the day, the quality of the game still shone through the dicking. So, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided was I really, really enjoyed it.
All right.
Number, what are we on? 7 here?
Yeah, 7.
7. John, what's your number 7?
Quantum Break.
What's that?
Quantum Break.
Quantum Break.
Yep.
Another one that I can't talk about because I never finished it.
Yeah, I've said it before. I am part of the reasons probably on this list is I am a Remedy fanboy. I've loved every game that they've made.
Sure.
I really love the company. I love I love Sam Lake. He's hilarious, I think. Even though I don't think he's funny on purpose, but but as the face of the company.
Oh, okay.
He's the writer, the guy who directs all these. He was the original face of Max Payne.
Oh, okay.
That made the constipated face. That was him.
Oh, okay.
So in well, I'm not going to talk about that. But I've loved I don't think it's as good as, say, Alan Wake, or even like the original Max Payne 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's a really good game. Like I thought, kind of incorporating the gameplay as, instead of levels, it's like episodes, and how each episode kind of has branching paths, and also incorporating this live action TV show element that also changes depending on how you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of it is really interesting, and while there were definitely some missteps in there, like there are definitely some things that just fall flat and don't work. I think that a lot of it was really good. I liked the mechanics. I liked the way the powers worked. If I had one complaint, I felt that the ending was a little bit too difficult.
Okay.
At least it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like the way it resolved everything was interesting and could potentially set up for another one if they wanted, but also resolved everything in a way that it doesn't need a sequel.
Okay.
So that it's fine if they never get another sequel. But I really liked it, and I'll fully admit probably my fanboyism for the company is why it's ranked where it is, higher. Than why it's actually on the list. But I really enjoyed it, and I really liked it, and it's one of those things that I could definitely, again, see myself going back to in the same way that I do Alan Wake or Max Payne or anything like that.
I think the only reason that I haven't played it personally is because I've played the beginning a few times. For the show, and then just I think one day I was just messing with it. And it seems to take a long time to kind of get going.
It does.
And if I play it again, I'm going to need to start the game over again. I'm just really not looking forward to the first hour. It seems like it's just set up. So, but everything that I played when we got down to the nitty-gritty action seemed like it was fine. The TV episode thing seems a little strange. It seems like Remedy needs to break their TV division into a whole different thing, because this was like, I see how the TV parts in Max Payne 1 got a little bit longer in Max Payne 2. Go to, like, you're expected to sit there with Alan Wake and watch like an actual 5-minute segment in Alan Wake, and now with this it's like we have like a 30-minute TV show after this particular mission or whatever. But everything I saw looked like it was, I mean, rock solid as far as presentation and acting and stuff like that. So
no, it was really good.
Number 7 for me is a Titanfall 2.
Oh shit.
Yep. I think that Titanfall 2 will probably end up being one of those Bulletstorm kind of games that goes down in history as released at the wrong place at the wrong time, and is probably not going to do very well because of a couple of different reasons. But I liked it. I liked the single player. I liked the kind of dude and his robot buddy comedy. I thought that they went to such lengths to make all kinds of different missions that felt very differently. There's one mission in there that if you haven't played it is amazing, where you're kind of switching the world back and forth. That gives you this really nifty, like, it was great. And then on top of that, we played the multiplayer on a Sunday stream, and maybe
a couple of Sunday streams. We played like the demo or the beta and then the full release.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I'm getting, the thing is that this year has been a little strange to me, because in most previous years you couldn't, I wouldn't put a thing on my list for multiplayer, but I like Titanfall's multiplayer quite a bit. I mean, between the wall running and the mechs and the stuff, and the kind of creep killing, it's still down to that whole, like, there's stuff for you to do even if you're not the best PvP dude in the world.
Yeah.
So, you got a haircut, John.
Oh, sorry. I just took off my hat.
John's been wearing a Santa hat the entire, like, hour and a half.
A little hot up here.
We've been recording, and it's like, oh, look, John got a haircut. Yeah. But yeah, Titanfall 2, and I feel like I will never be able to understand why Activision put Titanfall 2 out
when it did.
Why EA fucked Titanfall 2 with Battlefield 1
and Call of Duty.
Well, yeah, but Call of Duty was another company's video game.
True.
They put their own video game up against another one of their video games.
True.
Which
agree.
I just think is terrible. I think if Titanfall 2 had come out maybe pre-Overwatch, or if it came out in like February of next year when people are kind of coming down off of the holiday rush of multiplayer games, I feel like it really could have had a place. It really could have stood out because it's got solid production values. I mean, they even do that thing, I don't know if you saw at the dojo, where it's like, your robot will say something to you, and it's just either up or down on the D-pad, and there's just two different dialogue choices, and they don't do anything. They just let you make a decision about how smart-ass you want your character to be, and it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I will admit that is one of the games I have been like wanting to borrow from you, but I've been not asking or even inquiring about it because I'm like just so many other games
knee deep right now.
Knee deep, and you know, I don't even know if you bought a physical copy of that or if that's one of those you got digitally.
I think I have it,
but you know, and it's if you did get it physically, that's one of those that I definitely want to borrow from you at some point, but not. You know, it's not important right now.
Okay.
But I definitely, I can totally see why that's on your list.
Okay. And number 6.
Number 6 is another one that I think that you're going to look at me and be like, are you sure that came out this year?
Yeah.
But I looked it up, and its PC release date was this year. I don't have the date in front of me, but its PC release date was this year.
Was it released last year on the consoles?
No.
Okay.
Its PC and console release date was this year.
Okay. Lay it on me.
Super hot.
Super hot.
Yeah.
Super hot.
I obsessively still play this game.
Really?
Yeah, I still turn it on my Xbox One every now and then and play it.
I enjoyed the hell out of Super Hot. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, it's a very simple story. There's a lot of hidden stuff that I didn't even, that you play through it the one time, and there's a bunch of stuff there that you didn't even know was there. And so you want to play through it again another time and try to find all those hidden things. And it's fun. It's addictive. Like, I think they're about to kickstart a card game based on Super Hot that I'm like totally interested in like trying to buy.
I've been really interested. The VR version of it came out.
Oh yeah, there's the VR version.
And I've been really interested in like, does time move when you move your head? Because
that could be interesting.
That could be really interesting if it's actually if like the slowdown mechanic of the game is actually tied to you, especially if you could play it in a room space environment.
Yeah.
Because
like if you use the controllers that also are motion space, so you have to
that could be really interesting.
Yeah, that could be really interesting.
Really fascinating.
Yeah.
No, Super Hot's great. I mean, the thing about Super Hot is it left me hungry. I wanted more Super Hot.
No, I totally understand. You're totally obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It's all you want to play ever.
I'm kind of just surprised that it's so high on your list.
Yeah. No, I thought about it, and it's like because of how much I play it, that's why it goes back in there. I mean, if I had one complaint, is that there's not more of it, and not more, more story or more, stuff to do.
Yeah.
But having said that, like it's like, but I still play it a lot.
Yeah.
So
it's hella fun.
Yeah.
It's hella fun.
Yeah. I mean, so that's why it is where it is on my list. So it's a well done game.
I fucking love Super Hot. Let's see. Number 6 on my list is Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. The only RPG I really played this year.
Another game I didn't play.
Yep. I did not. Oh, no, actually, that's not true. I had a feeling with this one. It was the reason that I pushed through a little bit on it. This is as JRPG as a JRPG could be. It's probably more JRPG than your standard JRPG because it's literally a game about pop idols using their singing and dancing J-pop powers to summon giant mechs and knights and shit from the Fire Emblem universe. The story makes no earthly sense whatsoever. The world is weird. The whole thing is very strange. But you know what? Gosh darn it! It appeals to my dumb JRPG sensibilities. It had a decent fighting mechanic. It had a nice story that went on for about 20 to 30 hours, with the ability to go keep doing it if I wanted to. And you know what? Sometimes you just want a long-form game. Sometimes you're just looking for something where you can just be like, it's Friday night, and I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm just going to sit here and play this game from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and I'm going to drink 12 beers in between.
Oh, see, I thought you were going to say, it's Friday night. I'm going to sit down at 6 p.m. and start playing and not be done until 6 p.m. Sunday.
Oh, yeah. There was at least a couple of 8 to 10 hour marathon sessions with me and a 6-pack at Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, which very well could contribute to the reason why it's just like, oh, they're friends. Oh, they've discovered the power of friendship. It's one of those games. It's like every JRPG where there's a really annoying character. In this case, it was this guy Barry. And in the beginning of the game, you're just like, oh, fuck you, Barry. And then by the end of the game, you're like, oh, they have to say goodbye to Barry and go back to school next semester. No, it was fun. It was interesting. It was a take on JRPGs that you don't see a lot of times, considering that it's modern day.
Yeah.
Personally, I know there's a controversy surrounding this about the censorship and about taking out some of the sexy time content. If Nintendo comes to me and asks me, "Hey, would you rather have the sexy time content in?" I'll say, "Yeah, sure, whatever." But it was
if they
fine.
turned around and go, "But if we left it out, would you still buy it?"
Yes.
And the answer is yes.
And the answer was yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I bought it and I played it and I don't feel like I lost anything because I didn't get to see panties or bikinis. So, but yeah. If you are a fan of nutty ass, I mean, like, dude, this game actually did some stuff that I thought was really remarkable. Like, you have the offices where all of the idols meet up.
Yeah.
And every time that there's like a story segment, it's like, oh, this one's about how this cooking show turned into a demon palooza. And then at the end, you resolve it. And like the character that was in the cooking show gets like a new hot single that's connected to their new show. And then like in your office, all of the banners have been changed to like promo art for this new show. And like on the TV, they'll be showing parts of it. It had a bunch of cool music in it. It had this thing where towards the end of the game, I was doing these chain attacks where it's like, I'm going to hit weak, and then you hit, and then you hit, and then you hit. And hey, look, I triggered the duet where these two do a musical dance number, and it hits for 9999, and then this person's going to jump in on the blah, blah, blah. Enjoyed it. Bright.
I can tell.
Colorful. Japanese as hell. J-poppy as fuck. Just a real nice little game that didn't, ask any real big moral questions.
All right.
So
I can dig that.
Number 5.
Gears of War 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the Gears of War franchise. I felt like I was a little bit worried going into this that it may not, that it might be like Gears of War, the next generation, because it kind of is.
Yeah.
But I was worried that because, there was not a lot of stuff. There was some stuff that was left unanswered in Gears of War 3, and the fact that we were skipping so far ahead.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to get those answers? And while those answers may not have been in this one, it definitely set the tone of what the new Gears of War trilogy, because I think they said it's going to be another trilogy.
Okay. Everything's a trilogy these days. My fucking
what
breakfast
the next
is a trilogy.
Gears of War storyline is going to be. And
okay.
they've set the hooks for the next games. I mean, if I had one complaint, it's kind of a complaint that you had about a game that was lower on your list, which is, that it's totally sequel bait. Like, the ending is, like, 100%, like it ends going, well, there's going to be a sequel.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, which is always kind of a bummer, where you're just like, come on, man, I played through the entire fucking story.
Yeah, no, having said that, it does sort of feel like a full game.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it doesn't feel like it's the end. Like, I felt like I got to a stopping point, like the first chapter of a book. Like, this is, or like the, like the first chapter. Like, I was like, okay, I've read a book, and it's like, all right, there's more book.
Yeah.
But at this, I'm like, it's like the first issue of a good comic book, I guess I could say. If like a 6-issue comic, and I just read the first issue, and it's like, all right, now I got to wait for the next issue to come out.
I did appreciate, I never finished it. I got about a little bit more than halfway through it, maybe even 2/3, but I did appreciate that they seemed to go out of their way to not just make another Gears. Like, all the stuff with the robots and the way that you fight those, it's different. And then, like, some of the new monsters act very differently. And even though it's all still kind of chest-high cover, they did a lot to try to make it feel different. And they did a lot to, I feel like, advance the world of Gears forward, instead of just being like, Gears of War Judgment, right? Like,
well, and also, I feel like the story, the single-player mode, did enough to change things up regularly enough. Like, this level, you're fighting robots. This level, you're fighting some new creature that's a thing.
Yeah.
This level, you're fighting, this level, you're driving a motorcycle. This level, you're in a vehicle. Like, they did enough to change it up every level or so that it worked. Like, you never felt bored. Like, you just plowed through it. Like, this level's a puzzle level, so you have to figure out how to do this thing. Like, this level's you got to protect your base level kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I felt like it changed enough every so often that it stayed engaging, it stayed interesting until you got to the end. And I really feel like the weakest part of the entirety of the game is the ending.
Okay.
Is the big boss battle at the end. Like, I felt like they did this build up to this really cool set piece. And then, like, you get to the end of that set piece, and it's just kind of like, oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, cutscene. Oh, that's also it? Oh. Okay, that's weird. It just kind of ends.
Yeah.
And like when you think about it, it's like, well, I guess that would be the ending of the story, but it just felt like there wasn't like it felt like they didn't really know how to end it.
Yeah.
Without going to the next game, so they're just like, fuck it, let's just end it.
Okay.
And like if that's why it's not higher on the list.
Yeah, okay, honesty. I gotcha.
The multiplayer though, solid. It's Gears. It's Gears of War.
All right.
The multiplayer, the horde mode, it's everything you love about multiplayer with all the new stuff. Some of the new weapons I feel like are not great, but I mean enough. There's some good stuff there.
They're at least different.
Yeah, there's some different stuff, and I like it. That's why it's as high up on my list as
Fair enough. And how could you not love grumpy old man Marcus Phoenix?
Oh yeah, of course. my tomatoes.
So as we reach the midway point, I was actually thinking that I'm real glad that you and I's lists have diverged so much this year, because
I feel like they're going to start getting really similar as we get into the top 5.
Fair enough. All right. Well, number 5 for me. Wait, you just went from number 5, right?
Yes, that was my number 5.
Number 5 for me. Watch Dogs 2.
Good pick.
Watch Dogs 2 was so impressive to me. Did everything. Like, I was very wary about it, but I am more than happy to give credit where credit is due. Better story, better characters, better mechanics, better world, better in every way than Watch Dogs 1, and carves out a niche for Watch Dogs that I feel like Watch Dogs can now sit not on the same throne, but at least can compete in the same arena as GTA and Saints Row.
Yeah.
Where Saints Row is completely wacky and GTA is very much kind of like the classic crime, very serious. I feel like Watch Dogs did so much when it came to current events.
Yeah.
And a really interesting world full of characters. They made me care about DedSec.
Yeah.
I mean, that in and of itself, how could you make me do that? Like, in the first one, I was just like, go fuck DedSec. I don't give a shit about DedSec.
So, yeah, I agree with you. I feel like, as far as, like, protagonists in a video game, I feel like Marcus is probably the most likable protagonist out of any video game that's come out this year.
Maybe.
Like, that for me, anyways. Yeah. He is the protagonist that I'm like, I like this dude. And, and I think everyone before the game came out was like, what the fuck is with the dude with the emoji mask? Fuck that guy. That's pretentious fucking douchebag. Yep. And then you play the game and it's like, I love Wrench.
I love Wrench.
Everyone loves Wrench.
Wrench is so cool.
Wrench is so cool. He's badass. I love the relationship between Marcus and Wrench. It's so great.
Yep.
And I love the fact that the way that Marcus interacts with the other characters, it's just like it feels like a real relationship with each character. And I also, this is something I was actually reading in an article from Kotaku that I actually have to really agree with. When it came to playing the game, like, I didn't play the game the way I wanted to play it. I played the game the way I felt Marcus would play it.
Okay.
Like, and I don't think I do that very often with video games. Like, usually with video games, like, say, Dead Rising or whatever, I'm like, I feel like doing something crazy stupid. Let's go over here and murder all these zombies. Or even with GTA, it's like, I'm bored with the story. I'm going to go over here and just start killing people, you know, because that's what I do, because that's fun. Or I want to go do this stupid thing over here. Or I'll go rob a bunch of places or whatever, in GTA. Whereas with this game, I'm like, what would Marcus, like, the entire time, what would Marcus do in this situation?
WWMD, bro.
I want to listen to music in the game. What music would Marcus listen to? Well, I'm a big fan of, like, pop punk and stuff like that, and there is totally a radio station that caters to that and even has music by bands that I really like.
Sure.
But I went to the hip-hop station because that's the music Marcus would listen to. Yeah. When I went to the stores to dress up Marcus in clothes, it was never, oh, man, this is clothing I would wear. No, it was like, what would Marcus wear? Marcus would dress like this. This is what my Marcus would
You're making a lot of assumptions about Marcus over here.
No, I know, but, like that's the way I played the game. Like, and also with the way I played the game.
You were role-playing it.
Yeah, I totally was role-playing him. Like, I would, like, the way I even played the game, like, yeah, they gave me a gun, but I never used the gun unless it was by accident.
Yeah.
Like, the entire time I'm like, well, Marcus wouldn't go around killing people. I mean, yeah, he might, like, hurt someone in self-defense, and if someone is shooting at him, it is possible they could die if he hits them with the cue ball just right, and they get murder deathed. That's a possibility, but I also see that as self-defense. In those situations where I would use that.
Yeah.
But so I went with non-lethal means, like only stun gun, only the taser, only stun bombs or whatever. Like that's like that was the entire way. Like I never did anything that would outright kill someone.
Sure.
Or if I did, it was so tangentially through somebody. Like, it would be literally like, I'm going to call the cops on this. Like, I wouldn't use any, like, I never upgraded the call gang hits.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I never did that because I was like, no, Marcus wouldn't call gang hits. Like, he'd be against that. Like, just the way he is in the game, he would be like, no, I want to get rid of those gangs and stop what they're doing, not use them for my own nefarious needs.
Right.
Like that, like, but the cops, however, it's like, oh no, I'm totally going to call the cops on this guy because he's a bad guy and the cops can arrest him. And if he fights back and the cops shoot him to death, well, that's his own damn fault for resisting arrest. Like that's the way I played the game. And once I realized that that's the way I was playing the game, it became much more, I don't know, satisfying to me. Because it's like I don't typically play games that way. Like I play them like, oh well, this is the way I play the game because this is the way the game is supposed to be played, or this is the way that it's fun to play the game. But this was the way, like I was like, nah, this is the way Marcus would be in the actual game, and this is the way I want to stay true to that character.
I might have I got a little bit of that, but I still upgraded the gang thing, if I can call it on people. But this to me is the. I feel like it's this high on my list because this is the Assassin's Creed 2 to Assassin's Creed 1.
I agree.
Because this is everything that Watch Dogs disappointed in. This did not.
Yes, I
more
agree.
Style, more substance, better protagonists, better side characters, better story. Using the whole idea of collecting people's personal information to build a profile on them. Using that to create stories about the way that an interconnected future could be dangerous or could infringe upon our rights. I'm like, thank you. That was what that game should have been about, not about fucking revenge.
It's also a commentary on what's going on.
Yeah,
and that's what I liked about it. I like the fact that this was, again, like you said, this wasn't like a petty revenge story. This was, was there a little bit of revenge by the time the game was you get to the end? A little bit, maybe not like, but not revenge for like you murdered someone and I'm going to get my revenge. Yeah. It was more of, hey, you kind of fucked us over, so we're going to get back at you.
You know what? In the first one, the revenge was set up in a flashback at the beginning, and then they took the entire story to do that. In Watch Dogs 2, they introduce you to the villain, they introduce the villain to your character, and then there is a part where the villain basically walks up to your character and gives him the middle finger, which then when that happens in the game, I'm just like, ooh, I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
Now, I would even be willing to say that as far as storytelling goes, there's even parts of the game where there's interesting consequences to things that happen in the game.
Oh, yeah.
It's not all cut and dry. I like the way that they unlocked all the missions for you to do from the start, so you can just kind of do them in whatever order you want to. And the number of ways that you can do all the different missions, even though I didn't really ever try out just blasting on folks.
Oh, no, I never did that. Also, I fucking love the drones.
Sure.
I can't say enough about how much I love the drones.
Yeah.
About how just rolling up into a place and like and being able to use the quadcopter to kind of scope out, like for an area where I'm supposed to be do platforming stuff, where I'm supposed to climb up a building, use the quadcopter to scope out the entirety of the building to kind of figure out this 3-dimensional way you're going to tackle this obstacle, and then using the wheeled race buggy or whatever you call it thing to go in and do things. It was all so satisfying. I loved it.
Also, I don't know who it was that decided that you weren't able to control cars in the first game, but controlling cars is the best.
Yeah.
Every game should let me control cars. So that's my number 5. Number 4 on your list, John. Number 4.
This game's going to be much higher on your list, I'm sure.
Okay.
Hitman. I'll admit I haven't played it as much as you have. I haven't played all the history. I haven't played all the levels, but I have played a few of them.
Hitman.
And I really was impressed with it.
Hitman.
I was totally impressed with it. So, if you want to like hold off talking about it until we get to your pick, that's fine.
It's on there.
I figured it's on there.
Yeah.
And I figured it was higher than mine, but like, it's in my top 5, like I said, because I recognized it was a really, really satisfying game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to say much more about it. I got a whole bunch of things to talk about when I get to that point.
Okay.
No, Hitman. Number 4 on my list is Doom. Man, I swear to you, if you had told me 2 years ago or 3 years ago or whenever Wolfenstein was originally put out that that Bethesda and id Software were going to be putting out, Doom is an example that flies directly in the face of the shit that I was talking about at the beginning of this about fan service, except that, man, both Doom and Wolfenstein did this shit smart. Like, yes, the Doom Marine wakes up out of his prison and immediately just puts on the green helmet and goes. But, like, they had the good sense in this game to take that Doom violence knob and turn it all the way up and then break it the fuck off, because from the minute that the first demon attacks and your guy grabs his face and just tears it off, and that being a mechanic, so you're going to spend 8 hours in single player tearing, literally, like, picking. You come to a point in that game where you're picking a strategic moment to run up and rip a demon's arms off because you can get a bunch of ammo out of it. I'm a little bit low on ammo. Or like, oh shit, I'm getting low on health and ammo. Better use the chainsaw to create a fucking mass murder gore scene over here because I'm going to get, like, they incorporated in any other game, in so many other games, those types of violent, like, quick time event, single hit kills would just be there for entertainment. They'd be there as flavor to the game, as a thing that happens. It'd be like there have been games I played, I can't think of any because I'm so fucking tired, but there have been games that have stuff like that where Skyrim maybe is an example, right? Or like Fallout, where you do a critical hit and it like pulls out to show you do something really brutal. But Doom, it puts that brutality right there. It makes it a mechanic. Every weapon is just a joy, and every weapon can be customized, and there's so many. You've got runes and weapons, and there's different weapons, and there's enough. There's even a story that makes sense and pays homage in a clever way to the entirety of the Doom franchise without ever once pandering to you as like, or if they do that, it's in a way where you don't fucking care, and you're just like, yay, Doom. And then we played the multiplayer, and I was like, fuck. I even like the multiplayer for this game. Like, I'm not very good at it, and I suck at it. But you know what? Fuck it. So, Doom. Doom, 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 Doom. So that's my what was that, number 4? Okay. Doom. Number 3, John.
Doom.
That's what I figured. Doom. You were so quiet during that.
So yeah, it's Doom. Doom is my number 3. I agree with everything you said.
Yep.
I also love the fact that the levels are humongous. They're big.
They're big hubs.
But the thing is that they're designed in a way that if you play it straightforward and just play the story missions, you don't even notice it.
Yep.
Like it's literally like the first area. I didn't even realize how big it was until I was like, I didn't get any of the secrets in that level. Mm-hmm. That's weird. And then I was like, there's a little thing. Holy shit, there's this whole other level over here.
Yep.
When did this, how did I not notice that? You know, they're huge. So that all the levels have replayability.
Mm-hmm. You know, and all the secrets dramatically change. They'll give you upgrade materials that you can use to upgrade your guns or your powers or traits or whatever. Like,
yeah, and like you said, the kills were ripping monsters' faces and limbs off, and
they're called glory kills,
whatever you want to call them. Were not only were they a mechanic that you wanted to use over and over, but they just felt so satisfying when you did them.
Oh yeah,
like sometimes they were like, I don't even need the ammo, but fuck it, I need to rip something's face off.
Yep. Yeah. Just so well put together,
and there's all the little like the little tiny details. Like I love the fact that there's like he finds like the like there's one of the Easter eggs that he finds like the little Doom guy doll.
Oh, yeah.
He like pulls the fist up, turns it sideways, and gives it a fist bump.
Yep.
It's like, oh my god, that's so adorable. Mm-hmm. Like all the little details that they put in this game. This is probably just like I would actually say this is probably the most well polished game that's come out this year.
It's so good.
If it wasn't for the my top 2 picks, like this would be like if my top 2 picks had come out any other time other than this year, Doom would be unabashedly the game of the year.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's not even we haven't even mentioned. I mean, if you're not tired of listening to us gush about Doom. The fact that the game goes from the UAC to hell and back several times and in a great way. The level design is great. It's all like these combat arenas where like it's so smooth the way that it like pays homage to Doom and kind of feels like Doom but doesn't feel like a throwback game.
Yeah.
It's like they took a first-person shooter with non-regenerating health. And I just love this shit so much. They took a first-person shooter with non-regenerating health and then made the fact that your health doesn't regenerate into a mechanic where you connect it to the glory kills giving you health as a way to, like, it's so interesting the way it's put together. And it doesn't feel like any other game because that. It feels frenetic. It almost feels more like a Serious Sam kind of game, but with it's a little bit more smooth than that. And then, like, all of these secrets, which it didn't even need. Like, if the game hadn't had a 1 billion secrets, it would have been fine.
Yeah, it would have been great.
It would have been fine. But nope, also that. Yeah, I agree with you that there's a turning point where you get to level 2 and you're like, this has no secrets. So you get to level 2 and you start looking around and you're just like, you open up the map and start to zoom out from the map and go, oh. Yeah. So then it's like you clear out the entire level and then you spend 25 minutes jumping trying to find
I also
secrets.
appreciate that from the very beginning of the game, if you actually look at like the dossier for the Doom guy, and he's actually listed as Doom guy.
Yep.
It just literally it boils down to death incarnate.
Yep.
Like everyone refers to your character. Your character is known in the universe as death incarnate.
I think that one of my favorite things of all time is when you go to hell, there's a series of like audio logs of like the history of hell that you could pick up and listen to, and they basically are describing your guy who is just like yes, one day and then the heavens or then the Doom guy showed up and it's like, and we were all like, oh fuck, because he just wouldn't stop killing us. Like it's much more flowery than that, but it basically is just like, so there was hell where all the worst things of all time happened, and then this person showed up, and then hell was like, run for your fucking life. This guy, he won't stop killing everybody. I mean, like the story, like you said, it makes sense, and it does treat itself seriously. Yeah.
But it also knows when to poke fun of itself.
It's like Jim Sterling pointed this out. And it was something that I had actually seen before. All you really need to know about how brilliant Doom is as far as visual storytelling is the first time that guy is trying to tell you how to unhook this canister full of hell energy that is powering this thing, and he's like, okay, step 1 is you're gonna need to uncouple the thing, and your guy just starts kicking it, and he's like, what are you doing? And you're just like kicking this canister full of hell energy, and then he just grabs it and tears it out of the wall, and the guy at the other end of the radio is just like, I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah. That's great.
All right, number 3 on my list. This is a first, John.
Yeah.
This is the first time in 2 years that the From Software game this year is not at number 1.
Oh.
Dark Souls 3 is number 3 on my list.
Oh, okay.
I've played it multiple times, and I feel okay. Here's the thing. I feel like I need to condition this placement with a caveat. Okay. It is entirely possible after DLC 2 that this may be higher, that could be higher on the list, because every Dark Souls and Bloodborne, all those games have been enhanced significantly with their DLC. Now, Ashes of Ariandel this year didn't do a whole lot for Dark Souls 3, and the second one isn't coming out until January. So it's possible. The second one is bigger. Like the first one was $9.99, and I think the second one is like $20 or something,
okay.
Right? So it's possible that it's hard to explain how much better the DLC for these games makes those games. Like Bloodborne was great by itself. With the Old Hunters, it's number 1 with a bullet. I don't have any qualms about putting that at the top of my list.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So I don't know if this would be higher with the second DLC. As it stands, Dark Souls 3 fucking fantastic game. And the fact that it's number 3 is a testament to the thing that I've said over and over and over again in my life, which is that this is probably my least-ish favorite Dark Souls game that's ever come out. Still, it's a fucking phenomenal game. It's got so many like set pieces, interesting bosses, interesting multiplayer, interesting weapons, and like there's some some of the levels are, but some of the levels are fucking fantastic. It evolves Dark Souls with using these weapon arts, which I'm kind of a fan of. And it took me like 3 or 4 times playing through it to finally get to a point where I played characters up to play the DLC. And that was where it finally all kind of clicked for me. And I was just like, okay, I know how I want to play this game. This is how I'm going to play the game. And so, yeah, it's fantastic. It's Dark Souls. It's, as I said, it's probably not the best Dark Souls game, but of the games that came out this year, it is one of the greatest games that I played. I bought the Japanese version. For fuck's sake, John. I bought a yen card off of the Xbox store so that I could play it like 90 days or like 30 days before it came out in the United States. It's great. Great voice acting. There's some set pieces in there that are actually fucking incredible. There's some bosses that are the likes of which that, Souls is actually outdoing itself with some of the best bosses I've seen. Very, very good. And again, I cannot say it enough. Who knows? With the other DLC, could be number 1. Could be number 1 with a bullet. There's a bunch of story stuff that second DLC wraps all that stuff up in an interesting and nifty way, kind of like the Bloodborne DLC did. Could be the best game I played this year.
Okay.
All right, number 2. John.
Probably won't spend a lot of time talking about this, but it's Watch Dogs 2.
Watch Dogs 2?
Watch Dogs 2 was...
Well, you jumped in on mine. You said so much about Watch Dogs 2.
I know. Well, it's like I was talking to you about it, and I got excited.
That's fine.
But no, so it's everything that I said before. It's one of the most likable protagonists. It's for a game this year, in my opinion, like for a story mission game.
It's very pretty, too.
It's very pretty.
Yeah.
It's very fun. Like, I spent, like, just doing, like, here's the thing, and this is the reason why it's so high on my list. In every other game that is open world and you can do whatever, I hate doing side mission stuff.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Like Saints Row always made it fun because they were just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I hate stuff that's, like, super repetitive.
Okay.
And there's a lot of repetitive side mission stuff in Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
But I never minded it. Like, I wanted to do it. Like, I wanted to do, like, oh, I gotta go paint, like, put, like, tag buildings with like, art and stuff.
Sure.
Cool, I'm gonna go do that. Oh, I gotta go take selfies in all these places? Fuck yeah. I love taking selfies in this game.
Yeah.
Because I love the way people react in the world. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes the reaction of the AI is fucking stupid. Like, you be driving down the street nowhere near the sidewalk, and people are like, oh, God, he's coming for us! It's like, I'm nowhere near you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on a motorcycle on oncoming traffic, and you're on the opposite side of the street screaming that I'm going to run you over.
Yeah.
What's going on there? Like that's stupid. But it's the fact that the relationship between the main characters are as interesting and fun as they are. It's the fact that I can play the games the way I want to play them, which is, as I said earlier, the way I feel that Marcus would play them.
Yeah.
And
I almost want to go back and play Lethal. I almost want to go back and start a new game and just like see how the gunplay is, because I don't know if I've known anybody that's played it with machine guns and
I've seen
stuff.
some people talk about it.
Okay.
I love the whole thing. It was just so good. It was such a breath of fresh air that it did it for me. So that's why it's my number 2.
Okay. Yeah, you said number 2.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Hitman.
Hey,
Hitman.
Not surprised.
Yep. Hitman. I'm going to say Hitman is, and I'm going to say this, and you can just fucking come at me. I'm not going to equivocate at all.
All right, I'm getting ready to come at you.
The way that I do with a lot of other things. I've equivocated in the past a lot of different ways. Hitman is, beyond the shadow of a doubt, the finest episodic video game that has ever been created. And every other goddamn episodic video game could take a lesson from this, because every 3 months this year, or every couple of months this year, I got to play a brand new Hitman. And I didn't just play those levels because they were designed in a way that I squeezed all of the Agent 47 juices out of them. I got 100% mastery. I got level 20 mastery on every single one of those levels. And you know what? It was fun, because there's like 5 different unique ways to kill every target, and then there's a bunch of challenges that you can do. Did you know that in one of the levels, in the I think it's the Marrakesh level, there's a school. The school is full of soldiers. The soldiers are standing guard. There is a thing. This is a secret. You can look it up online. If you don't want to hear it, skip forward one. There is a thing where you get an officer's uniform, and you get the officer's uniform. You can walk up to the soldiers. You can hit a context-sensitive button to be like, "You're dismissed," and they'll be like, "Okay." It says, "You're dismissed. General's orders," and they'll say, "Okay," and they leave. And so at first you're just like, "Oh, great. That's a great way to get rid of people, right? Because I'm trying to do this mission." But it turns out that they all go to the same area, and they all go and stand outside of this tank. And that when that happens, there's actually a radio that appears by the PA in this one room. And if you turn that radio on, it starts playing like this kind of, like, I don't even know how to describe it, kind of like a Middle Eastern, like, pop song type of thing. And all the soldiers start dancing. And then the commander, who's your target, comes down and stands on top of the tank and starts, like, dancing at all of the soldiers. And one of the achievements is actually kill him while he's doing that. It's so elaborate to set this up that but when you do it, it's amazing. So you could, that's the thing, you could buy this game now that all the episodes are out. And I actually the only knock against this game is that I feel like most people aren't going to have the same experience that I did. Is that by having a mission that came out and by wanting to play and see all the cool stuff that happens in that mission, I played mission 1 12 times because I had to wait a few months for mission 2 to come out. Whereas if you had the whole game, I can imagine you just playing mission 1, beat mission 1, go to mission 2, beat mission 2, go to mission 3, right? But there is so much replay value. There's a thing in the Hokkaido mission where you get on top of a roof and you have to walk to like 5 or 6 different points. And when you do that, just a little, it's like a cardboard cutout of a Godzilla in the distance. Just goes like, and makes a scree noise. It's like literally just a 2D cutout that they put back in the background that just walks out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, there are Easter eggs out the wazang, and it's also really useful to beat every level in the fully because you get more tools that you can use on the next level. They've got the whole thing where they put the time-sensitive contracts, so you only get one shot to do. You can shoot Gary Busey in the head, for fuck's sake.
Well, you could.
You
at
could.
One point.
You can't anymore.
You can't anymore.
If you're on the PlayStation 3, or PlayStation 4, right? Sorry, I'm so tired. It's not really as much of a big thing, but like they had the whole Sarajevo 6 contract, which was a whole different series. But there's like remixed contracts in all the different areas. They actually went in and created alternate versions of a bunch of the different areas with different missions that are free. So Sapienza has like a movie set thing where it's like downtown has been taken over for a science fiction movie and there's a big prop in there and you have to kill the actor because he's being a jerk. Marrakesh has a nighttime mission that where the whole thing is at night and everything is a little bit different there. They just gave out free fucking holiday DLC where you get to, I mean, you walk into the holiday DLC and who's there? Santa Claus. And what does he do? He goes, ho, 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 and then disappears into sparkles. And you have to track him through the building, listening for the hose through the walls and whatever, and trying to find him everywhere that he is. The game is amazing. It's absolutely incredible. It looks good, sounds good. The only problem that I have with it is the fucking online thing. And you know how they announced that they took it offline? Yeah, that only works for equipment. All the starting areas are still locked if you're offline.
Oh, that sucks.
So, again, this is the other game that I feel like Square Enix was dicking with things and wanted you to be online and use like your SCN account or whatever it is. But the story of and the other thing is that the story wraps up in a weird way. But other than that, Hitman has been one of the most fantastic experiences that I've had this year.
Okay.
All right, Johnny, you ready?
So we're just going to say it in unison because I'm pretty sure it's the same game.
Number 1. Overwatch?
Yeah, Overwatch.
Okay, Overwatch.
I mean, that was yeah.
You know what that was right there, John? That was a play of the game.
Yeah, that was play of the game.
Oh, man, Overwatch. I doth love thee. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways.
I don't like multiplayer games usually.
Nope.
Like, I love Gears of War, but not because of the multiplayer, but because of the story. And, like, I actually love playing the story missions. I like Halo, not because of the multiplayer, but because of I actually like playing the story missions.
Yep.
Though I do like the multiplayers in those, I just don't play them that often. I fucking love Overwatch.
Yep. I This shouldn't sound like such an incriminating revelation to our audience. I'll play Overwatch when we're not recording. I'll play a game of Overwatch when I should be playing something else.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I want another loot chest or I want to play some Overwatch. I'll play Overwatch when I don't have to. And this is maybe the first time I don't play Dark Souls online. I don't play Bloodborne online. We played Doom once, but I don't play Doom online. Like, I didn't play hardly anything online. I played the fuck out of some Overwatch. We did 4 or 5 Sunday streams with Overwatch because fuck you, Overwatch is awesome. It's probably more important than I think anybody's really giving it credit for.
Yeah. It's the fact that all the updates have been free.
Yep.
The fact that there's always something going on. The fact that the gameplay is so tight.
Yep.
And the fact that they're also willing to make changes.
Yep.
To make sure that the game is always fun and that all the characters are always being played.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is
2 new characters, a few new maps.
Yeah. New game modes. Some game modes are only timed exclusive stuff.
Yep.
That come around for holidays, which I'm sure they'll come back when those holidays come back around next year. Mm-hmm. Probably changed a little bit so that it's a new thing.
Oh, and all of that stuff would be paid content in most of the games that I played. Like, you wouldn't just get Sombra. It wouldn't just be like, oh, guess what? New character. Here's a stealth hacker. They're like, what? Okay.
You got to pay $5 for that.
Right.
Or you got to pay $30 for the season pass.
And I know that a lot of people have compared it to. I know that a lot of people online are really dismissive about Overwatch, being like, "Oh, Overwatch is just Team Fortress 2."
Yeah,
it's so not. Like the fact that you've got characters that are more melee focused, the fact that you have characters that are split into attack, defense, support, and whatever the other one is. You've got characters that can build turrets, but you've also got characters who are literally tanks. I mean, Reinhardt has one long range attack, but most of his stuff is like up close and personal.
Yeah.
You've got characters that are defensive. You got characters that can do. I mean, I don't know. And the fact that I played every single character from Overwatch multiple times, including ones that I wouldn't, like Widowmaker or Ana, like the snipers, is a testament to just like it's always fun. It's fun to lose. It's not always fun to lose. Sometimes I scream at my TV and go, "That's bullshit, man."
I had a game the other night, which I was doing like the random, like you play as random characters, like it always starts you as random.
Yep.
And I had a game where the other team had 4 fucking bastions, and knowing that it was random and they got 4 fucking bastions that lined when they realized it lined up.
Yeah.
At the point. And just were obliterating.
Were they on defense?
Yeah, they were on defense as well.
God.
And we were a team full of fucking healers. Like, everyone on our team was a healer. No one had any fucking range ability.
Yeah.
And it was like, and every time, like, I literally respawned as Lucio like 4 times in a row. And I was like, it's random. How am I respawning as the same goddamn character with no range and they have 4 goddamn bastions?
It's because underneath all of Overwatch is just a big social experiment where they're like, let's see how much we can piss John off today.
Well, they're not giving me any fucking holiday skins either.
Well,
motherfuckers.
That's true. I haven't gotten any either. But you know what? In spite of all of those complaints, fucking Overwatch.
Yeah.
Man. And like between the fandom that we talked about earlier, between the just all the. I mean, you know what? I'll be honest. Whether you like Overwatch or whether you don't like Overwatch, you cannot deny that I have not seen the gaming community go as nuts for a thing as Overwatch. Not even just the game, but the amount of comics, memes, like, exactly what we were talking about earlier, where people ship characters and people decide, Gremlin Diva and Dad 76 comics, the number of those that I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen Overwatch comics that make me laugh. Hell, the amount of Overwatch pornography out there should tell you that Overwatch is a big thing, because you know what? Nobody's making Bloodborne porno, or if they are, I don't want to see it, or it's not as front and center. It's not getting like news stories. Yeah. There's not websites devoted to it. Nobody's doing. I'm like trying to think of like what were some of the big games. Nobody's doing Deus Ex porno. Nobody gives a shit about Deus Ex porno. But yeah, a bunch of characters with that all play differently, and they're balanced so well, and
you know,
the levels are great.
I was even worried the fact that it's a multiplayer only game. There is no single player story mission.
Yeah,
and all the story content is in like little side movies, like little videos, and then also the comics. I was worried that might bother me, and it so hasn't.
Yeah.
Like it so has it in a way that I'm totally happy with. I'm totally excited for.
I mean, I think that at first it bothered me, but then like as I started playing the game, I was just like,
this game is really good.
Could care less.
Yeah,
right?
This game's fun.
And to go back to what I was trying to say before, I've said this a bunch of times, but because we're talking about Overwatch, I'm going to say it one more time. This to me is the first time that anybody has managed to dig into the first-person multiplayer shooter space since Call of Duty Modern Warfare came onto the scene.
Yeah.
Because before that it was Battlefield, and before that it was TF2, and since then, I think that's the order. It's something like that.
And at some point there was also Halo.
Halo is definitely in there as well, but I feel like those guys, and please, if your favorite thing that is also a thing is not on this list, understand that I'm just generalizing here.
He's tired.
Yeah, I'm very tired. But it seems like every multiplayer mode in a game that we saw was level-based like Call of Duty, large vehicle mixed warfare based like Battlefield, or class-based like TF2. And while Overwatch hews closely to TF2, it's got way more classes than TF2. Like if TF2 had fucking 24 characters or however many,
and each character is completely different,
and they're all totally different. I mean, that's the thing about Team Fortress 2 is that they all have a gun, right?
Yeah.
And that's not even the case in Overwatch. Not everybody has a gun. So seeing Blizzard basically use their superpowers to break into a scene that I think has been stale as fuck for a long time, because everything is just one of those things. It's just like, hey, look, it's a new year, it's a new Halo. It's just there's more Halo, right? So Overwatch is certainly the most fun I've played, and it's a game I keep coming back to, which is one of the things that puts a thing at the top of my list.
Yeah, I mean, I keep coming back to it. The animation, the animated movies they do, the little shorts they do, have made me tear up. They've made me laugh. They've made me, the comics kind of the same way. There's some that are really great. There's some that are not so great. There's some that made me laugh. There's some that make me cry.
Yeah,
it's all good. Like I fucking love it. It's it's the best.
I agree. So we probably should have taken that break. I thought this part was going to go faster, but we are now almost at the 2-hour mark.
Okay.
So I tell you what, with that... Oh, wait, no, we still have more to talk about.
We do.
Fuck! I'm sorry, folks. We're going to have to save the questions for next time.
No, I mean, we could probably still do questions.
Well, I tell you what. Let's go through the back half. Let's do honorable mentions, and let's talk about your list of big disappointments. We'll see what our time is like. We can maybe answer like a question or two real quick.
Yeah, okay.
We can do the questions.
Well, honorable mentions.
Fast.
I mean, I feel like I can get through them because I don't really need to talk a lot about them.
Okay, roll down your entire list, and then I've got a few here. I'm gonna roll down my entire list.
So honorable mentions. Project Cross Zone 2 for the 3DS.
Okay,
not an exceptional game. Not anything special beyond anything, but I played a lot of that game.
Yeah.
So that's why it gets an honorable mention, because it's not good enough to actually be on either. It's not good or bad enough to be on either list, but I feel like it needs to be pointed out because I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Just personally. Street Fighter V. Good fighting. Had some problems. Had so many problems with it at the very beginning that I can't put it on a top 10 list. I can't even put it anywhere near a top 10 list.
Okay.
But I feel like the core of the game was good enough that it doesn't deserve to be on like the worst games of the year.
Sure.
Virginia was a game we played on Sunday streaming.
Yeah.
I really thought that did storytelling in a really interesting way that that I had not seen done before, with very little dialogue, and it stuck with me.
Zero dialogue.
Yeah, and it legitimately stuck with me, so much so that before even looking at the list of what games came out, I knew that was going to be somewhere. I just didn't know where it was going to be, and then when I actually saw what all came out this year, I was like, well, it's so short that I wouldn't put it in my top 10, but it stuck with me in such a way that it needed to be mentioned.
Okay.
I put Dark Souls 3 on my honorable mentions because,
did you even play Dark Souls 3?
A little bit.
Okay.
I rented it. Pokemon Go, I feel like I actually almost bumped Mafia 3 for Pokemon Go.
Sure.
Because Pokemon Go is a fucking phenomena. It is.
Do you not feel like it's kind of? At least it's calmed down.
I feel like it's calmed down a little bit, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Like they're still updating. They're still adding more stuff. But I feel like it was like you can't talk about the games of 2016 and not talk about Pokemon Go.
Okay.
Like, I feel like that does a disservice because that game was fucking huge. Even if you talk about it during the time that it was huge on, it needs to be mentioned. The only reason it's not on my best of list is because there's not really a game to it.
Okay.
Like, it's kind of like a non-game game.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. I got swept up in it. Everyone got swept up in it.
Except for me.
Except for Jeff because he couldn't play it.
Damn right I can't play it.
And then the only other game I'm going to mention because I have issues with this game.
Yeah.
And it's why it's not anywhere on my top 10, but it actually is a good game. I've come to qualms with it. Dead Rising 4. Okay. It's a decent game. It does a lot of really good. I think for every good it does, it also does something really stupid.
Okay.
The biggest fucking stupid thing is the fact that they locked the true ending of the game behind DLC.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. I almost put it on my worst list, but the killing zombies and everything else is so fundamentally good.
Yeah.
That it keeps it off of that list.
Okay.
But it's just like they made so many stupid mistakes with the game that is nowhere near the top of my list either. It's nowhere near the fucking best games of 2016. Like if I had to put it probably somewhere in the 30s.
Okay.
That's my honorable mentions.
Okay. I have a few of my own. Let's see. Number one, or wait, number. Well, I'm not going to put these in any.
Yeah, I don't put my honorable mentions in any order.
Super Hot was definitely on my honorable mentions for all the reasons that you said. Super Hot was fun as fuck. I couldn't put it on my top 10 because it's just too short. That's really the only reason.
I can understand that.
Even though I never finished it, I'm putting The Witness on there, which I thought was really interesting. The Witness was an answer to a question that I didn't know that anybody had asked, which was, how do you do Myst today? I don't know if you ever got a chance to play The Witness.
Never did.
But it was just, it was a giant island that you can walk around, and every area of the island was gated by a whole series of puzzles that all had thematic to them, but they all were all similar. There was all a grid, and then you would do different things with lines and shapes in that grid and dots and stuff like that. It got to the point where I couldn't solve the puzzles on my own without getting frustrated, or I got to an impasse, and then I basically kind of came down to a point of like, do you want to bang your head up against this? Do you want to look up the solution online, or do you want to, and I'm going to use big quote fingers here, come back later? And that was the choice that I picked, and then I just never went back to it.
Okay.
But Salt and Sanctuary. Ska Studios finally put out their 2D Dark Souls game this year. Good game. Interesting. Very stylish. Very Ska Studios. I almost feel like in this game, Ska Studios' art style might have worked a little bit against them. Also, mages are totally OP in that game. And once I restarted as a mage, I was able to basically just walk through the entire game. But I'm always a fan of people who pick up the Dark Souls style and then try to make it their own.
Okay.
Let It Die should probably also be in that same category. And last but not least, I got to say, in an era when there's a lot of stuff out there that's cynical, remakes, remasters, I really liked Grow Up.
Okay.
As the sequel to Grow Home, it did a lot to forward the abilities of it. It's not a very long game. It's not a very expensive game, but it's a pretty fun game. You just building giant, growing giant dick plants.
Sounds like you like it for the same reason I liked Virginia.
Yeah,
it's not a long game. It's not really but it's what it does really well.
Yeah, it's fun to just crawl around it's not the best game I've ever played in the world. Also, I was a little bit back and forth about that Ratchet and Clank game because I feel like it did okay, but it suffered from being a tie-in to a movie. But the actual gameplay, no, that's not true. They shoehorned in a couple of scenes from the movie, but the Ratchet & Clank remake for the PS4 was rock solid. And if you like Ratchet & Clank, it's got all the things that a good Ratchet & Clank game should have. And so those are my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Now, I don't actually have a
worst
of list.
I mean, I can ignore it. Like, I can ignore my worst of list.
No, dude, talk about it. I will agree or disagree.
So, I can tell, first of all, I'm going to say a game that's not on my worst of, and this is probably going to be I didn't feel like it was honorable mention for all of its faults, but I don't feel like it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Fucking No Man's Sky. It's because this isn't my disappointment, because I was never disappointed with No Man's Sky. I was disappointed with the situation of it.
Yeah.
What the industry was disappointed about, but I was not disappointed. So that's not anywhere on any of my lists.
Okay.
Like, just it's not. But worst games of 2016, these are literally games that I played for all of, like, I started playing and I had to force myself to continue going, to the point of that I went, you know what? No. Yeah. I'm not playing it anymore.
As far as No Man's Sky, before you move on, I could just say that No Man's Sky was one of those times where I felt like I was right, even though I didn't want to be right.
Yeah.
Where I kept being keeping a guarded side eye on No Man's Sky, because I kept asking these questions about what is the gameplay loop, and are you just going to be walking around looking at stuff and blah, 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 blah. And then it came out and it was like, well, all that stuff. And it's worth noting, as I do all the time, I wanted No Man's Sky to be what all of y'all wanted it to be. I just didn't see it in the trailers. And so I wasn't willing to let it have, my special feelings until it came out and I could actually get my hands on it.
Yeah.
And I think I honestly, again, to reiterate, I think that them trying to go back and fix the game, or quoting fingers, add things back into the game that people may have expected, try to make the game better, is an incredibly laudable effort that should be applauded, if not for the fact that some people were saying, like, No Man's Sky is fundamentally broken and can't be fixed. Okay, guess what? Even if that's the case, I still feel
them trying.
Yeah, that it is good for them to try to fix it, because otherwise, it's just what? I mean, they just take your money. I mean, at least they're giving it a shot. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Jumping in.
So worst games: Homefront, The Revolution.
Oh my God, I couldn't even aim in that game. I loved it. On the dojo, people were like, Jeff, you're so bad at this. I'm like, I'm not bad at it. The frame rate's just so shitty that I can't
I was so pissed off because, like, I wanted to be excited for this game. I wanted it to be good. And then I played that beta.
Yeah.
Like, I actually had gotten access to the beta for it before the game came out. And I was actually like, oh, shit. I even told Jeff, I was like, I got access to the beta. I'm just waiting to be able to download it. I'll be able to download it on this date. I've got access to it, and I got permission to stream it. This is going to be awesome. And then I played it, and then Jeff was like, so when are we going to play it? I'm like, we're not.
Yeah.
That game is garbage. Like, it is a fucking dumpster fire. Like, this is, if it's like this when it comes out, holy shit. And then it came out and holy shit.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how I think this is a good lesson for everybody. The trailers for it looked pretty good. The gameplay trailers looked pretty nice. And they came out and they promised that they weren't going to do what they did with the original Homefront, and they didn't.
They did worse.
They made a shitty version of Far Cry that wasn't any fun to play, and
they made a game that was worse than the first Homefront.
Yeah,
and I liked the first Homefront.
Boy, that's a statement. Yeah, it's amazing. Whenever you get really super excited about a new property, remember how excited you were about Homefront: The Revolution, if you were excited.
Yeah.
Or No Man's Sky, for that matter.
I didn't even expect it to be. I was like, man, maybe it's going to be at least on as good as the first Homefront, which I enjoyed. I didn't think it was as terrible as everyone made it out to be. Like, I definitely agreed it wasn't a good game, but it had its moments. It had its problems, but I was like, so as long as it's on that and they learn from their mistakes and they make something good, I'll be happy. And they just made like more mistakes.
Yep. Well, they also, let us not forget that studio got their funding slashed, and like fired half of their staff,
and then
fired like the other half of their staff
in the credits of the game.
Yeah,
because they knew how bad of a game they made.
That doesn't help.
No, it
company.
doesn't.
I still gave somebody $60 for that game.
Next up is Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number 9,
which I don't think was fundamentally a bad game. It was just a huge, not fun. That was my problem with it, is it wasn't fun.
The thing that struck me about Mighty Number 9 is that when the finished product came out, I went, I've seen devs put together a game of this quality and graphical fidelity in 6 months.
Why did this take so long?
Like an experienced game studio can knock this shit out in Unity no time flat. There wasn't a shitload of voice acting. You could have cut down on a lot of but most of the models were just character models blown up and reused in certain places. Yeah, it seemed to be one of those things where I just couldn't understand what the fuck took them so long and why they needed so much goddamn money. I've seen a bunch of Kickstarter games that came out that were better than that made half as much.
Yeah. But, so that was a big one. Ghostbusters, the movie tie-in game for the new Ghostbusters.
Oh my goodness.
That was so disappointing.
Oh, that game was terrible.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
I was so upset because I wanted another good Ghostbusters game.
Yeah.
And I didn't want another Ghostbusters Sanctum of Slime, and unfortunately they gave us another Ghostbusters Sanctum of Slime.
Yep.
But like somehow worse, which again was weird. Now, my next two games that I'm going to list on this would probably be like low on the worst of, like they wouldn't actually like be worst of.
Yeah.
But I felt like to me they were the I don't know what I was expecting going into them, but they ended up somehow not only not meeting my expectations but being dramatically lower. First of all, the Technomancer. Which I didn't even expect that game to be great. Like I expected it to be a middleware game because I played Mars Warlogs and a few other Spiders games that were they're not great, but they were fun for what they were. And just this one was just boring. It was just not interesting. Like I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, and even when I knew what I was supposed to be doing, I didn't really know where I was supposed to be going. And when I knew where I was supposed to be going, it just wasn't fun.
Yeah,
like it was just like everything was bland and boring and not fun and just ugh. I'm sure there are people who like that game and are probably going to be like, fuck you, John, Technomancer's a great game. And that's fine. If you liked it, I appreciate it. But for me personally, it was not.
I can also tell you that it took me like an act and a half to understand why Breath of Fire was any fun. Like that game started out as being incredibly tedious, and it was like eventually I kind of figured out what they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
But they were just really bad about explaining what you need to be doing early on, and that it took me a while to get it. So it's possible that it may pick up later, but I don't know. It looked interesting in the beginning. But.
And the other one, I know I'm going to get shit from at least one Rage Select fan.
Uh-huh.
Battleborn.
See, I guess then Battleborn was another one of those ones where I didn't really have all that much expectation for Battleborn.
I don't even know what my expectations were. That one's one where I don't even know what my expectations were for.
Yeah.
But for a game from the people who brought us Borderlands, to make a game that was so goddamn boring and like not fun to play, and I got what they were trying to do, and it just like the characters just really were. They were like, oh, these characters have fucking all these quirky personalities, and it's like, yeah, but they're not really that interesting.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that guy's really big and he likes wood. He's a big lumberjack type guy. That's hilarious. Like, I don't...
See, I guess the thing, I mean, I'm looking at it and it's like, Gearbox has had, when I look from 2011 until this year, Gearbox has had one, maybe two winners. Like Duke Nukem Forever, Aliens Infestation, I don't even know what that is. Borderlands 2 I agree is good, but Aliens Colonial Marines, Borderlands the pre-sequel, which I count as not a very good game because it was just more,
well, it's also a different team, but yeah.
Borderlands the Handsome Collection, and then Homeworld Remastered, which I don't know if you know this, where they whoever that team was fucked up the formations on that. Homeworld Deserts of Karak, which I was like half, but I never felt like it was poorly optimized. I don't feel like when are you going to take say, oh, it was a game about giant aircraft or fleet carriers, and so you're just going to make these giant ground carriers that are building you? It's weird. And then Battleborn. So
I felt like I don't know. Like I said, I just felt like that. I guess part of my irritation with the game was that it's like, okay, you purposely put Borderlands on hold. Like you ended Borderlands 2 with a, hey, we've got another game lined up that's not the pre-sequel.
Yeah.
And then went, but we're not going to work on that game. We're going to work on Battleborn, and then we're going to hand Borderlands off to this other team so they can make the pre-sequel so that you have something to pass the time while we're working on Battleborn.
Sure.
And then you release Battleborn, and it's like, that's the game you released that you put Borderlands on hold for?
It's almost, when I play Battleborn, it's almost like they spent way too much time on the style, the graphics, the voice acting. I mean, there's some legitimately funny parts. There's that robot that thinks it's a spider or whatever.
Yeah.
The animated intro is fine. The music is good. It's just the gameplay did nothing for me. Like, I do not care. I don't care. Whenever a game does that thing where you're just blasting the same type of enemy over and over and over again for an hour,
it's way
just
too
like,
repetitive.
Fuck yourself. Like, plus the fact that you had to try to join into. I hated the fact that you had to join into a multiplayer match in order to play single player, or like, and then it's like, what you're trying to play with other people. You get into a room and it's like, all right, everybody vote on what level we're going to go to next, and everybody votes for level 4, and you're like, I haven't seen the story in level 1 yet, and there is a story in that game.
Yeah.
And then you just get it all out of order. It's just kind of a mess. Like, it just, there's actually, I mean, I want to say.
Well, you can actually play by yourself without actually having other people with
you.
But it makes the game harder because the game is designed to be played with like 4 people, but you're playing it by yourself. And they do change a few things so that you can play it by yourself without having to have other people there. But it makes the game a little bit harder.
It's almost a good game, but it just seems like it's too involved with its own style to spend the time working on its own.
It's a head up its own ass.
It just, I just feel the focus was wrong.
Yeah.
The focus was on, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the character design is great, the world design is great, the dialogue.
There's way too much style over.
Is funny, yeah. The problem is that fucking playing the game isn't any fun.
Yeah,
all that other stuff is fine. Playing the game is kind of just like, well, it's like a medium shooter.
I know a lot of people compare it to Overwatch because even though they're nothing alike, and even conceptually they're nothing alike.
No.
But I do feel like from a gameplay standpoint, if you want to look at what done wrong and done right, they went with Battleborn. They went, let's make this all the stylized ooze style, and let's just focus on making it sound funny, and there's just interesting story. But then they forgot to make the gameplay fun.
Yeah.
Whereas with Blizzard and Overwatch, they went, let's make the gameplay fun, and then we'll add the style on top of it.
Sure.
Like that's why they fucking canceled Titan, is because Titan wasn't fun.
Yep.
And then they went, okay, well, what do we do now? Well, let's this part of Titan was fun. All right, well, let's focus on that. Okay, hey, this is a fun game. All right, let's add some stuff to that. Let's put some personality on it. Let's put some style on it.
Yeah.
And that's how you make a game. Not let's create all this style and fucking drop the ball in the fucking gameplay.
Yep. No, I agree. Is that it? You got any more?
No, that's it.
That's it. All right.
My list.
Well, I tell you what, we are now officially over 2 hours without a break.
It's you and me, dude. We go long.
Oh, I know. It's just usually after the news, I go and smoke, so I'm jonesing a little bit. Also, I'm fucking deliriously tired. So I tell you what, let's take a quick break, and then we could do maybe like a couple of questions.
Yeah, 2 or 3 questions. Let's do that.
Or we'll take all the questions, but we'll answer quick like a bunny. No discussion. No getting into it.
I can do that.
You can't do that.
Dude, I'm going to give you a quote. If silence is golden, I don't want to be rich, motherfucker. I'm going to talk.
All right, we'll be right back. And we're back.
So tired.
I don't know how much more I got.
You fell asleep. You literally fell down your stairs, falling. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, mail array. Select his email address. Sending your questions. We're gonna do fast questions because there's still like 4 more videos I have to record today.
Yeah, one of them's with me.
I'm not crying because it's with you. I just want to go to sleep.
Wait, you have 4 videos to record today?
Yes, I do. I got lots of videos.
Oh, wow.
All right. Our first question comes in from Brandon. Brandon says, hello, holy of holy, Jeff and kick-ass amazing John. Brandon here with another gaming question. What would you count as a perfect rental game? I say all Telltale games are great for rentals because of the lack of replay. There's no reason to own it. Thanks for all the hard work you all do each week. Loyal patron Brandon. You rent a lot more games than I do.
Yeah.
What would you think is a great rental game? I'd say anything. I mean, obviously anything that's no RPGs, right? No Skyrims, no.
I thought Mafia 2 was a really good rental game. Like, that was a game that I had no preconceptions with, and rented and totally loved it.
Mafia 3 could be a good one in there too.
Mafia
just
3
kind of tear
also,
it up, play as much as you want, then send it back. I actually feel the best rental games are ones that we can't rent, which would be the little indie games that are only a few hours. Like Virginia would be a great rental game. I'd love to pay a couple bucks and rent Virginia.
Probably the new Dead Rising 4.
Okay,
because like I said earlier, it's fucking like the core is what's good is good.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's one of those games where you're going to play it a lot.
I mean, you know,
I'm actually worried that they say that they haven't announced the release date for that the true ending of the game, and I'm worried they're not going to release it until like February or March, and then who the fuck's going to want to play a Christmas game in February or March?
Just fucking boo on that, man. Boo on you, Capcom, for doing that. That was Asura's Wrath a Capcom game as well, where they did that shit where they pulled the last. Oh, goddamn, fuck that shit.
I mean, having said that, I do want to state if you play it, it has a beginning, middle, and end. Like it ends, but it ends in a way that's kind of like a little bit of it's kind of a cliched, see it from a mile away, like, oh fuck this game for actually going through with it, even though you saw it coming. Ending, and then it's like. But of course, like I literally was like, okay, I must have gotten the bad ending. These Dead Rising games have always had multiple endings. Of course, there's probably a different ending. Nope, no, not a different ending. But there's going to be DLC that takes place after the ending that totally continues the game further.
Okay,
and it's like, oh, well.
Ooh. Bulletstorm is a great rental game.
Yeah,
that'd be a fun one. Anything that's like 8 to 10 hours and then done, that's great. You get it on a Friday, play half of it, play the other half on Sunday, and bada bing, you're done. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Anything that doesn't have like a huge, Overwatch would be a really shitty rental game because you want to keep playing it.
Yeah,
so
and even games like I don't feel like Grand Theft Auto 5 would be a good one because the online mode. Yeah, the online mode is too big and always being updated, and people are always playing it.
Single player's too big. The single player's fucking huge in GTA 5.
Yeah, but I think the Saints Row games.
Yeah, those would be good rental games. Those are real fast.
Or at least Saints Row the 3rd and 4.
Yeah.
1 and 2 can be a little lengthy.
Yeah.
Because they try to be lengthy like a GTA game.
Yeah, I'll stick with that. All right, we're tearing up questions. Our next one comes in from Alex C., who says, "Dear Jeff and Jolly John, first I want to say I share your disdain for Christmas music. It is horrible and everywhere." That's for me.
You.
That's for me. Thank you.
I love Christmas music.
Secondly, I'm very sad that Almond Space didn't make it into the WWE Battle Royale. He should get into the next installment with Gary Marzipan.
As I said,
no, I know
in the video, no, there were a ton of characters, both real people and fictional, that did not make it because I didn't have the time.
I don't want this to be a thing where we're hammering on John. I was just thinking, next year.
No, totally. I'm gonna try. That's one of the names on the list.
I'm gonna put one in there. I'd like to see Asshole Spider-Man next year.
Okay,
it's an oldie. This is a big oldie. Not everybody knows about Asshole Spider-Man, but
I don't know how
you can't
I would
get a
do
trench
that
coat
one because well, I mean you can, but not in the match itself. Like that's I don't. I can try that one. I mean, I thought about making Thomas Forza because I figured that would be easy, but I don't know if you can have the.
Nobody's ever seen Thomas Forza.
I don't know if you can have the racer helmet in also would he just look like the Stig?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. There's plenty of folks in there. Anyway, Alex says, finally for the question, what is one thing you remember always wanting for Christmas but you never got? Have a happy holidays, Alex C. Something you always wanted for Christmas but never got.
See, that's a problem for me. Mm-hmm. And this is not to say I got everything I wanted for Christmas, because there are definitely things I didn't get.
Right.
But the problem is that once I got a job and had disposable income, I went out and bought all those things.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
And like literally, like it's like if I want something for Christmas and I didn't get it, like it's kind of weird because like a lot of people buy stuff off my Amazon wish list, and those wish lists were originally created not for other people to buy me stuff. They were there so that I'd remember to buy stuff. Oh yeah, I need to buy this when I have the money. Oh yeah, I need to buy this and then I have the money. So when people don't buy me stuff off my wish list, I'm gonna buy it later anyways.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything that sticks out in a huge way for me because my parents are real. I was real good as a kid at requesting reasonable gifts, and my parents were really good as adults at getting me those reasonable gifts. Or it'd be like, every year, it's like with when the Super Nintendo came out, and I was like, I want a Super Nintendo, and that wasn't a dramatically expensive console at the time, and so I got a Super Nintendo. It's funny how many, when I look back on my days, how many of my consoles were Christmas gifts. I think GameCube was a Christmas gift. My PS2
I don't think I ever got a console
as
a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
I got stuff as birthday gifts.
Oh, I know what it is. The handheld TurboGrafx 16.
Oh, yeah?
I always wanted one of those because it had the TV tuner, and it played straight up TurboGrafx games.
Yeah.
So you could just put TurboGrafx games into there.
I think for me, on that same token, was the Sega Nomad.
Oh, yeah?
But, that would have just been batteries. Because it played Sega Genesis games.
Yeah.
I think it also had a TV tuner on it as well. I think they tried to copy the portable TurboGrafx 16 in that regard.
Yeah.
But it ate batteries. I think it took 8 AAA batteries, and you'd get 30 minutes of time with it, if I remember correctly.
The good old days.
Unless it was plugged into a wall, in which it would just run off the wall power.
Right.
But it was just it's I totally wanted one of those back in the day, but I never got one. But I also never requested. That was one of those things I never requested.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, boy, that was back. You remember when the Game Boy came out and suddenly everybody got really interested in rechargeable AA batteries, which were always just stupid. And
I still hate to this day rechargeable batteries. I think they're garbage.
Yeah. You're talking about rechargeable AA batteries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not talking about batteries that you find in your phones now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe I don't have a Christmas letdown story.
Yeah.
To be told. I mean, I guess the thing is that Christmas for me has always been a really great holiday. And so I can't think of a Christmas where I'm sure there was one where I was just but what about that other thing? But it was always such a haul when we were kids at Christmas that, by the time you get done opening up your presents, one thing that you wanted wasn't in there, but you were just oh, no, wait, I do know what it is. I know. Lego pirate ship. Always wanted one. Never got one. They were too big and too expensive, and I never got a Lego pirate ship.
Yeah.
Also, my cousin's got that G.I. Joe aircraft carrier, and that thing was fucking monstrous.
I mean, for me, it was just one of those things where, when I was a kid, I never, here's the thing, a lot of my toys were hand-me-downs, from my brother and from other people, friends of the family who are I don't want these Transformers anymore. Hey, John, you're a kid, you like toys, here's a bunch of Transformers. Oh, sweet, Rodimus Prime, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I again, it was one of those things I never, even though I got a lot of hand-me-downs and I maybe never had the newest things or the newest toys, I never really was oh man, I totally wish I could get this, or anything like that. And then when I was old enough to actually make money and buy stuff for myself, a lot of my friends hate me because that buy gifts for me hate me because they never know what to buy me because I have a tendency to go, I want this thing, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Amanda actually has placed a
spending ban.
Starting the first week of December.
Yeah.
Until the end of December, and sometimes, depending on situations, a little bit into January, I'm not allowed to buy myself anything. Or if I do, I have to run it by her to make sure someone else isn't buying it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, so I mean, it's typically, I spoil myself in that regard. If it's something I want, I go get it. If I can't afford it, for example, the PlayStation VR, I can't afford it. I want it. I wish someone would buy it for me, but I'm not expecting it.
Yeah.
But, because it's a super expensive piece of equipment.
That you could honestly do without. It's also kind of gimmicky, so it's one of those it's real expensive. And you're probably not going to use it a shitload. It's not like you're going to get that. It's going to be that technology thing where you get it, and then you use it for a little while, and then you're just that's great. And then you put it on your shelf I can't wait to use that again. And then at a certain point later down the road, you're it's been 6 months since I've touched that thing. It's got dust on it now. Fuck.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, there's not really anything that I'm because, again, it's one of those things that, so I have a ban on, around Christmas that I can't buy myself anything because I actually have to, actually force myself to not buy stuff because there's stuff I totally would have bought this year.
Yeah.
There's stuff that I totally would have bought for myself because I had the money, but instead I went, no, I'm going to buy Christmas gifts with the money I have, and maybe for some people my brother, I spent a little bit more than I normally would to get a gift for him because I was well, I have extra money this year. I'm going to buy, spend a little bit more than I would normally on everybody, and instead of spending it on me because, I could buy myself all this stuff. I want to make sure I don't buy something that someone else is going to buy me.
Sure. Yeah, I gotcha. All right, kind of a non-Christmas related question coming in from Daniel, who says, "Hello, Jeff and John. I recently watched the 30-year reunion of Double Dare that came out weeks ago, and it made me very nostalgic for game shows of the 80s and 90s. Since you all were young kiddos when these shows were on, I figure y'all were perfect to ask these questions. 1, out of the game shows that you watched, which ones did you enjoy the most? 2, if you were able to be a contestant on one of them, which one would you choose? And 3, If you could bring one of them back, which one would it be? Thanks and take care, Daniel. All right, so let's start with one. Out of the game shows you watched, which ones did you enjoy the most?
Nick Arcade, Mysteries of the Hidden Temple. I actually kind of, sort of like Double Dare. I also like out of like daytime, like not kids game shows.
Sure.
I really like Wheel of Fortune and
Hell yeah,
and
man.
Jeopardy and all those, Let's Make a Deal.
Sure.
And some of those are still on the air. Like Drew Carey's doing Wheel of Fortune and fucking Wayne Brady is doing Let's Make a Deal and stuff like that. So some of that's still on.
Let's Make a Deal or Price is Right?
No, it's not Wheel of Fortune. Drew Carey is doing Price is Right. Wayne Brady is Let's Make a Deal.
Okay.
Sorry, I said Wheel of Fortune.
And who's on the feud?
Well, it used to be fucking.
I can't help you. My brain is mush. That's why I
Yeah, my
asked.
brain just turned to mush too. But there's people screaming at their computers right now or their earphones, or just on the bus listening to the podcast and being like, "Motherfucker, it's this person!"
Yeah.
And then everyone looks at them weird and they're like, "Oh shit, sorry." I don't know who. It's Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey. There you go.
He was doing. I don't think he's doing it anymore. I think he left the show.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I liked all those shows. But yeah, as far as like kid stuff, like totally like Nick Arcade and Mysteries of the Hidden Temple and.
See, I didn't have cable
like
when I was a kid, so for me, it was. I mean, Wheel of Fortune. I remember when Wheel of Fortune came out.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what? That's great. You spin the wheel. Fucking Vanna White's turning stuff around. Get Pat Sajak over there.
I think Pat Sajak may still be hosting.
It's possible.
Wheel of Fortune.
Then there was one. I don't remember all the rules to it, but it was like those things where it's like a puzzle where it's like boat minus B plus, and then it'll have like a picture of something, and then you have to like it's this isn't a touchstone for everybody, but here in Austin there's the Lone Star beer, and in the bottles of Lone Star underneath the caps they have the same kind of thing where it's like a pictogram representation of a phrase, right? So
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, but it used to be a game show where it was like
it'd be a screw in a baseball, and it's meant screwball.
Right, right. That's the most basic thing. So they would have it was kind of like a ripoff of Wheel of Fortune, where it was like a board that as you either answered questions or as you did a thing, it would reveal parts of one of those types of
vaguely
puzzles.
remember this.
I really liked that show when I was young because I would sit there trying to figure it out. I was also a big fan of God. What the hell was the name of that one with the whammies?
Oh yeah, I don't remember that one either.
Press Your Luck. Press Your Luck.
Yeah, Press Your Luck.
Because the little
No
cartoon
whammies, no whammies,
would
no
come
whammies,
out.
no whammies.
Yep. If you ever want something interesting, go read the story of the guy who figured out the pattern for the whammies. Like everybody's got to fuck it up. But do you know about this?
No,
There was a
no.
guy that was watching Press Your Luck, and he was like watching it because it was like a thing that spins.
Yeah.
And then you would it was kind of like virtual wheel, and then you would hit a button, and then it would stop. And the guy was watching it, and he realized there was a pattern to it, and so he got himself on the show, and then broke the show because they couldn't stop him because he would never hit a whammy because he had figured out how to watch that board and always hit the button where it was never whammies. So he just like went in there and fucked that shit up. Also, the Pyramid.
Yeah.
Pyramid's a game that
$100,000 pyramid,
Yep.
or whatever it's called.
Yep, with the celebrities where you get.
Yeah.
No, that brings up another one. Tic Tac, the celebrity Tic Tac Toe.
Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, Hollywood Squares. Hollywood Squares is great.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Hollywood Squares. I want to see Ryan Gosling shoved in. I'll take Ryan Gosling to block.
Yeah, I would totally love to see a return of Hollywood Squares. I would love to see, as far as like the kids say, I would love to see a return to Nick Arcade.
Yeah.
But it would have to be really different considering how video games have changed.
Yeah.
And also Nick Arcade had like original games like that were made specifically for Nick Arcade that were ripoffs of like major games.
Okay.
And also they had the weird room where basically a person would walk into a green screen room and essentially the other person would tell them like, oh, you need to jump now, you need to duck, you need to take 3 steps forward. Like, how would you do that in a current environment? Would it be VR? Would you
That'd be interesting.
yeah.
Like give somebody a VR that has like a real low res thing, or I don't know.
Or do like keep talking, or we'll explode, or whatever it's called.
Keep talking, or nobody explodes.
Nobody explodes.
And nobody explodes.
Yeah. Like do stuff like that. Like maybe get a contract with these indie games and like do that as like those kind of things. Like I think it'd be interesting to do that. To do something like that. Just bring back Nick Arcade, or bring back a game show like Nick Arcade.
Well, if you could be a contestant on one of them, which one would you choose?
I would have chosen Mysteries of the Hidden Temple.
Okay.
Back in the day, because I really liked that.
I got to go with Wheel of Fortune. It's a pleasure just to play. I would like to say Jeopardy. Not smart enough for Jeopardy.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough for Jeopardy either. No.
Now, if it was video game Jeopardy, I'd be up there just like, what is Bulletstorm, Alex? What is the second expansion for Bloodborne? Wait, there is no second expansion for Bloodborne.
Who is From Software?
That's right. You know what? I want to see this like me and two other people, and they're just like, and the categories are From Software, developers that rhyme with Hideo Ojima, like
Potent Potables,
JRPGs, first-person shooters that nobody's ever heard of,
Invisible Walls,
and the most obscure indie games of all time. And then I just go, tiny fools, you have no escape.
And then it turns out one of the answers to one of them is what is Galgun.
Right.
And Jeff doesn't know the answer because he only played it once in passing and never
that's
thought
final
about
video game Jeopardy, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that'd be great. We're just like, yep. What is level 2 of Super Mario?
What did you bet?
All of it. All right, this next comes in from Dong Disciple, who says, "Dear Beardman and John Not So Wick." Oh, that's a little insulting.
I'll take it.
All right, Dong Disciple here. Instead of asking what's your favorite blank of 2016, I thought I'd ask who would win in a scream off, The Ultimate Warrior or Macho Man Randy Savage. Additionally, who's got more epic hair, Ultimate Warrior or Brian May? Thanks for all the good times and laughs. Taking a dump is never better than when I'm listening to your dulcet tones. A very merry and salty Christmas, Dog Disciple. Thanks. I
appreciate to know that right now he's taking a dump.
Yep.
I hope that it gets to a point that one day it becomes like a Pavlovian response, and then he meets us in person, and we just start talking, and he's like, "Oh God, oh God,
he's just
oh God, I gotta go."
It's like you and I wandering around RTX, and he's there as well, and I'm just like, "So Joe, what should we see next?" And then just hear some guy go, "Oh shit!" and like run out,
and like grabbing it, like, "Oh no!" But yeah, no.
Okay, so yeah, this is all for you, John. The Ultimate Warrior or Macho Man Randy Savage? Who would win in a scream off?
Ooh, because they both scream a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do you think? John's really put a lot of thought into this.
Well, it's like I'm also trying to think which would be the more coherent of the scream offs as well. Like I'm trying to factor in, if you're going by pure who would be louder, I feel like it would be Ultimate Warrior. But if you want to be who's more coherent in what words they are coming out of their mouth, it's got to be Macho Man.
Okay.
That's not to say that everything Macho Man has ever said is coherent.
Yeah.
It's just saying it would be more coherent than fucking Ultimate Warriors load the spaceship with the rocket fuel. Yeah.
Okay. And who's got more epic hair? Ultimate Warrior or Brian May?
I gotta go with Ultimate Warrior on that one
Ultimate
as well.
Warrior? Okay.
I mean, Brian May has some pretty epic hair, but
All right, fair enough. And our last question, since I'm about to die, this one comes in from
a person who probably gives their name somewhere deep into the email.
Yeah, I'll just make something up at the end if I can't see anything. Merry Holiday, Jiggle Jeff and Jangle co-host John. And a Merry Christmas to our Rage Select champion, Charles St. Charles. My question will follow the holiday theme. What if Santa was real? There lives a man who lives in the North Pole who can give you any gift you wanted. If you had been good this year, what would your gift be? Would you meet your favorite hero, fictional or real life? Get the life model replica of the Millennium Falcon. Have the love of your life, the one who makes you truly happy, finally make you that sandwich, girl or guy, doesn't matter. Everyone loves sandwiches. Or will it be? Or will you be a simple man with simple needs and ask for a cast of blue ghosts who gives you nods and thumbs up when you achieve a life goal? Try not to be greedy, and I hope you all have an amazing holiday. That's right, even you, Twitch chat. Okay. P.S. I passed both my classes this year. It's not important, but I felt like I should update last week's message. PSS, I think it should be PPS. What's everybody's favorite holiday dinner? And I'm just going to say that's from Paul. So,
well, it's apparent that this person has emailed us before.
Yes.
Though I wasn't here last week, so I don't know what that's in regards to. But it also means that he's also probably in the Twitch chat as well. So, and he goes to school and passes classes. So there you go.
Good job.
Good job.
Favorite holiday dinner? Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes,
turkey, mashed potatoes, fucking macaroni and cheese,
green bean casserole,
green beans. Not green bean casserole, but green
rolls.
beans. I'm really picky with my green beans. It's weird.
Just cream of mushroom soup and some French onions, man.
I don't like cream of mushroom soup.
So creamy. That's what I want out of my vegetables. I want some creamy ass cream corn.
No,
cream
I don't like
no
cream anything. I'm not a big cream
No
person.
cream? Okay. Banana cream pie? Whipped cream on a strawberry? Okay. All right.
No.
Fair enough.
But yeah, turkey, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, green beans. That's good for me.
Okay.
I call that a dinner.
I don't really do cranberry. I don't like the sweet. I don't like to futz up my turkey with sweet cranberries or tangy cranberries.
Ham. Sometimes ham. Ham's good.
Sometimes ham. I just I've said this before and I'll say it again. I require one traditional turkey dinner a year.
Yeah.
It's how I stay sane. All right. So what if Santa was real?
He is real. What are you talking about?
What would you ask?
Santa's totally real.
John,
don't you ruin this for me.
John can still hear the bell. You can still hear the bell. Yeah. What would you ask him for?
Whatever.
Blank check, bitch. All right, it's like a genie with a wish. Tell the people something. They're paying good money to hear you say stuff. They're not paying any money to hear you say stuff, but you know what? What's your one wish? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, again, it's going to be kind of a blanket thing that sounds really weird to say, but just to be financially stable enough that I can live my life within not extravagantly and not be poor for the rest of my life, regardless of what I'm doing as a job.
Okay.
Like that would be it. That would literally be it. Just to always be financially stable enough that I'm happy.
Okay.
Because I don't need much more than that.
Okay.
Because I don't.
You're a reasonable person.
I am very reasonable in that regard.
Yep.
Because I want like all the stuff, but at the same time, I don't need all the stuff to be happy.
I too am a very reasonable and simple man, John. All I really desire is the ability to turn into either a car or a spaceship like Michael Jackson and Moonwalker. That's all I really want out of life,
So you don't want to be Turbo Teen?
No. That happens when he gets wet. You realize what that means? That means that when he goes to the bathroom, he can't wash his hands without turning into a car. All right?
Okay.
Turbo Teen, that's the life of misery. No, I just want to be able to turn into a silver fucking space mobile or a giant spaceship and then shoot Joe Pesci and he's, oh no! And, because he's got his spider room where he's getting all the kids addicted to the drugs.
Okay.
So, yeah. I would take the ability to turn into a claymation rabbit as well as an alternate prize. Just really anything from the movie Moonwalker is really what I'm going for.
So also the ability to change into a child as well.
Does he do that in the movie?
Yeah, they do when they do a kid version of Bad.
Oh yeah, that's true. Or the ability to do that leany thing where you get a white suit and then you lean in one direction. Yeah, and just anything. I'll take anything from Moonwalker. That's yeah. And with that, we're going to wrap it up because I'm now asking Santa for shit from the movie Moonwalker, which means that the delirium has now taken over my full frontal cortex and everything is on fire. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address to get us some emails. Get us the emails. If we didn't answer your question, throw us emails. We actually, since the VGAs, I feel like we've had a startling lack of emails. So we got to last week, we went over some of the emails that we missed because of the VGAs, but then this week we didn't really get any. So if you guys want to keep hearing emails,
there'd probably be no podcast because of the holidays. So. And you know what? They've got some time because this is the last podcast of this year.
Yep, we're not going to be doing any more until next year. So yeah, send us in your holiday stories. Send us in your holiday questions, and we'll answer them. And with that, I think it's time to go get some turkey, John. I feel like brothers in turkey, we need to go get the turkey dressing.
Okay.